those responses they're doing for him in the past year.
There's Ron Lancaster, who has suggested that his team is a veteran one that isn't much different than the one from a year ago. And right away, the Lions try the short kick. It's out of bounds. And I'm not sure it went the required 10 yards, but that could be a sign of how we're going to start tonight as the Lions try to open the season with a short kickoff.
Trying to come out with something to surprise to try to start the game off, obviously, with a bang. I think the ball went actually out of bounds before it was touched by anybody. Probably an illegal procedure call, and they'll either mark the spot there, as they're doing right now, in the Edmonton offense, and Tracy Ham will take over. First down.
There's a new rule that if the ball is kicked out of bounds to open the game, or at any time, the receiving team can take it there. Tracy Ham is the quarterback, and there are many questions about Ham as we start a new season. The 1989 CFL Outstanding Player leads the Eskimos up to the ball for the first time. From the BC 45, gives to Blake Marshall, and he is stopped in his tracks by the outside linebacker, O.J. Brigant. Here's how the Eskimos will line up. Sandusky and Armstrong, Ellis and Henry Williams with a starting role for the Eskimos as a wide receiver. Blake Marshall and Mike Pringle are the running backs behind a veteran offensive line, but for the left tackle, Chris Morris. That's a matchup we'll be watching. Morris against Stu Hill, the former Eskimo, and one of the leading rushmen in the league. Out of the shotgun, we had early movement by the Eskimos on 2nd and 9.
Little movement up front in the line, and also Fred Ellis was about 4 yards down the field, left early, and they'll get an illegal procedure against the Edmonton Eskimos. We'll get the call here by Ken Lazarus.
Legal procedure, Edmonton number 50, second down repeater.
Well, they ruled that Blake Dermott was the first of the Eskimos to move, so it will be second down again, 14 yards to go. Dermott, the veteran on that offensive line. And again, Ham will operate out of the shotgun. Here comes the rush, and they got it. Keith Poe, first man through, he led the surge and forced Ham back on his own side of center field.
Keith Poe just showed great outside speed that time, came on the outside of Randy Ambrosi, and was able to get upfield very quickly. Tracy Ham in the shotgun, doesn't even get time to set up, and then he sees Stu Hill, and then Keith Poe coming from the inside, got outside of Randy Ambrosi, and made the sack.
So that brings Glenn Harper into the game. Wasn't with the Eskimos during training camp. They wanted to see if the rookie Sean Fleming could handle both the punting and kicking duties, but they did bring Harper back, and just gets that one away. It's fielded inside the 10-yard line. Eskimos with good coverage on the field against a former Eskimo, Mark Mathis, back to return that kick for BC. A 48-yard punt by Harper, a good one. Mathis with the 6-yard run back. And here comes Danny Barrett, who outgunned Doug Flutie head-to-head last year. He's been a public relations success here in Vancouver since his arrival, but he still has to win over the Lion fans on the field after Flutie's amazing year in BC in 1991. He had a little slow in the preseason, but he says we'll see the real deal tonight.
The bottom line stat is W's and L's, and he's got more W's, and he thinks he can put some more on the board for the BC Lions this season.
10 wins, 4 losses last year. Give to the new fullback on this Lions team, Mike Marasco, one of 3 junior players playing for the BC Lions, and they're in the ammunition for the Lions. Volpe and Marasco, the running backs. Another junior player, Kevin Thompson, will play at the one wideout position. Clark Trevathan and Darren Flutie are veterans, and this probably is the best offensive line in the league.
If it's not the best, it sure as heck is the biggest. I stand by them the other day, and it was like an eclipse when they were out there.
A couple of yards for Marasco, 2nd and 8. Barrett throwing, and he delivers high to the intended receiver, Darren Flutie. And it was Damian Lyons, the rookie quarterback, supplying coverage for the Eskimos.
Damian Lyons did a good chance. They isolated him out there one-on-one. And again, they had the crow pattern. He closed very tightly. It was a high throw, but he was still there, and he made an excellent defensive play.
So Julio Caravata comes in. I mentioned that Sean Fleming was a rookie. Wayne Lamley for the Lions, a rookie. Caravata told me before the game, I've been around, but this is the first time I've kicked in CFL game action. Gizmo Williams awaiting this punt. The Eskimos not expecting the Lions to give Williams a chance to return it. Short kick is fielded up by Eddie Thomas, and he's down at the Lions 40. There is a flag down on the field. Keith Powell with the tackle for the Lions. We're scoreless in the first quarter. Well, the Edmonton Eskimos were called offside on that last play, so Julio Caravano will get another chance, and I think the Lions are thankful for that after the short punt, which would have given the Eskimos possession at the Lions' 40-yard line. Matt Clark is the long snapper for the Lions. Caravana not pressured that time. Gets away a better kick, but it will give Gizmo a chance. And he has no room there. Sean Millington forced him out of bounds. Gizmo had 5 punt return touchdowns a year ago, one an 88-yarder against the Lions. And there's the rookie out of the University of Toronto, Chris Morris, who starts at tackle in place of the injured Trevor Bowles, and we'll be watching a matchup between he and Stu Hill tonight.
What a test for the young kid coming in there. With the injury to Trevor Bowles, he has got his work cut out for him because Stu Hill is one of the best in the leagues, and he knows that this is a young kid right here, and he was really cranked up as we talked to him before the game and also in practice yesterday. He's excited and thinks that he can actually beat this young kid.
Oh, he asked Stu about the matchup, but he didn't say a lot, but he looked like a kid on Christmas Eve as Ham throws to the flat. There's Gizmo, but he's out of bounds. Henry Williams, a great punt returner for many years, but he's starting at wide receiver for the Eskimos this season. And let's check in with Phil and Morris.
It's a great setup here. Morris comes off the line. He's setting up and trying to give Stu Hill just a one-way go. Pushes him way outside, and he stays with him. Good quick feet for the young kid, staying in front of Stuart Hill and keeping him out of the face of Tracy Ham.
2nd and 10, Eskimos. Ham works out of the shotgun. Has time, looking for Armstrong. Flag goes down as he was bumped by Mark Mathis. Armstrong looked like he was a step behind Mathis, and we've got a new pass interference rule this year, Dan. And we'll have to find out if that's incidental or deliberate pass interference. I think they'll call that incidental.
Rumi Trudell, the safety, was out of there, up covering the back. One-on-one, you've got against Mathis. Mathis is beaten clearly by a step. Throws the hand out there as Armstrong reaches out there, or else that could have been 6 going in.
Forward pass interference. DC number 23. First down, Edmonton.
Well, apparently that was ruled deliberate, and so they do place the ball at the 37. Had it been incidental, it would have been just a 15-yard penalty. That's a new rule in the league this year. The Eskimos will show us a no-huddle offense tonight. Right now, they're working out of the shotgun. And under pressure, they got it for the second time. And once again, it's Keith Poe. And when you're 6'4", 260, and that's your name, I think they should pronounce it Powell.
I'll call him Mr. Powell if it takes that much. But he shows some great strength coming straight up the middle. Again, over the right guard, Randy Ambrosi. Tracy Ham's catching him in the zone, trying to dump it quick, but Poe on the ground makes a quick dive in here and sacks Tracy Ham for a big loss.
Loss of 10, 2nd and 20. Ham better protection, flushed out now. Has Williams, who can't bring it down, is picked up by a left field rookie quarterback. Has the first interception of his CFL career.
What an exciting player this is. This is a kid that came into camp with a broken hand. Obi was actually going to cut him because he was a receiver when he first came in. Let's take a quick look at Tracy Ham. Getting out of pressure, had enough time to square his feet up a little bit, throws the ball too high, Giz tips it up, and there's Field in there for a big interception to shut down a drive for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Bob O'Billovich told us yesterday he was looking forward to seeing how Field would do in his first CFL game on the corner, and he's delivered an interception. And here's John Volpe with his first carry of 1992. And the top rookie has the first down for the Lions.
John Volpe, you just see great numbers over the 1991 season. You can see this offensive line knows 2 things. One, if they can make a block, create a little crease, a little sunlight, this big guy right here will be able to get through and make something happen for the BC running attack.
3rd and rushing behind Mims and Barnes a year ago. First down for the Lions. Barrett out to the rookie Kevin Thompson, and maybe some jitters there as Thompson dropped the ball. He's another junior out of the Surrey Rams program.
Probably a lot of pressure on the young fella there coming out starting in the place of a well-known guy like Ray Alexander. Just a quick hitch to him out there. Easy pass to catch, took his hands off a little bit, trying to make that quick feet move before he caught the football.
Second down 10 for the Lions, who are without Ray Alexander, reported to camp with a broken foot, so they sent him home, and Thompson has the job for the time being. Barrett downfield looking for Flutie again, and once again Damien Lyons with the coverage for the Eskimos. So Danny Barrett gets a first down from Volpe, but having trouble establishing that passing game here in the first quarter.
Well, historically in these earlier two exhibition games, he has been a slow starter. Unfortunately, against a team right now like the Edmonton Eskimos, you want to try to get up and get as many points as you can earlier in this game.
Caravata back for the Lions, kicking to Williams and Eddie Thomas. Henry with the 88-yard return a year ago against the Lions. He set 6 punt return records last year, and he gets another chance. No yards may be the call as a flag goes down. And Gizmo hit at the 20-yard line by Donovan Wright and a wave of Lion tacklers. 40-yard kick by Caravata, a 3-yard run back, and the call is going against the Eskimos on the hold.
It's an illegal block against the Edmonton Eskimos, it looks like. What we talked around Lancaster, particularly about special teams, let Gizmo get the ball. What you want to do is not take it out of his hands by making a stupid block or making a clip or getting an infraction that's going to nullify any kind of return that this fella can do, because he's a game breaker and he can do it at any time he touches the ball.
Now he's a punt returner, and now he's got to worry about wide receiver duties. What do you think about this move by Ron Lancaster?
I think it's a great move, and the fact is that Giz has responded absolutely admirably to the fact he's probably the best guy in shape on the Edmonton Eskimos, and maybe, you know, throughout the league, because he works extremely hard in the offseason.
Eskimos in a hole, start at their 11. Blake Marshall makes the first man miss and drives to the 15-yard line for a Gantz. And Reggie Johnson push him out of bounds, but Marshall's a load to bring down, and he has close to 5 yards.
O.J. Brugance does a great job for the BC defense here. He came in last year and really covered a lot of ground. I was very impressed with his quickness, his pass defense, and he shows right there, not only does he have those two, but he's got strength to bring down a horse like Blake Marshall.
Second down and a long 5 for the Eskimos at their own 15-yard line. The shotgun formation. Ham over the middle. Sandusky wide open. And he's out to the 35-yard line with a first down for the Eskimos. Mark Mathis with the tackle for the Lions.
O-line of the Edmonton Eskimos, you see some stats on Sandusky. A very talented receiver. Gave Tracy Ham a little bit of time to throw the ball. Sandusky came on just an under route, and he's able to hit him, turn it upfield, pick up a big first down.
Sandusky, a great possession receiver in his 7th year.
You can see great protection, good throwing lanes right up front. Sandusky hit the seam, and Tracy laid it out there on a frozen rope for him.
20-yard gain for the Eskimos. First down, 35-yard line. Ham puts it up, looking deep for Williams, and he's got it. Henry Williams is gone for the Eskimos, and it's a 75-yard touchdown for Edmonton. And that answers a big question about Gizmo playing wide receiver.
That answers it. What do you think about Ron Glasser making that decision? It looks pretty good right now. The one thing about Henry has been a bad knock about him. He can catch the football. And right there this time, what he does have is tremendous speed that he's able to just blow by the rookie field here. And all Tracy has to do is have enough time to lay it up in there. The one thing that has to happen probably for that BC defense is that Remy Trudell has got to be able to get over there and close that gap a little bit. If the corner's going to squeeze it in and hope he has help from the safety, is the fact you've got to push him in a little tighter where the safety actually has the ability to be able to cover and help you out a little.
Maybe the biggest difference for Williams is that now that he's playing offense as well, he can't do those clips when he gets into the end zone. Sean Fleming has his first CFL point. Williams the touchdown. Eskimos lead 7-0. The veteran Henry Williams with a 75-yard touchdown as he burns the rookie Ahmad Field. as the Eskimos open the scoring at BC Place Stadium, 7-0 midway through the first quarter.
It'll be interesting, Chris, that we keep an eye on the Giz right here, because after that 75-yard sprint that he did in touchdown, he came off the sideline, he took a little limp, and the doc went over and took a quick look at him. We saw him on the side taking a stretch of the hamstring.
Here's Field, the quarterback, running back the kickoff for the Lions, and he's hit inside his 35-yard line. Willie Pless, the veteran linebacker, holds that return to 21 yards.
Willie Pless, arguably last year, could have been the best defensive player. Even though Will Johnson won it from the Calgary Stampeders, Willie Pless has been noted that he could have been the best all-around defensive player in the league, and that's been reinforced by guys like Ron Lancaster. Excellent specialty team guy and plays every play on defense.
Danny Barrett over the ball. And Barrett rolls. Downfield looking for Clark, almost picked off. Dan Murphy had it in his hands and couldn't squeeze it. Out of town, you saw that thriller between the Rough Riders and the Argonauts, and that's a tough act to follow tonight. Ottawa 53, Toronto 42 as those two teams open the season. Hamilton squandered a big lead in this one, and they lose in overtime on a 39-yard field goal by Troy Westwood with 37 seconds to go in the overtime. Second and 10. Eskimos look like they may have been offside. Barrett delivers. Damian Lyons has Flutie all tied up and Barrett knocked down. And the Eskimos did jump.
Barrett's in the shotgun formation coming in. The offside took place.
Number 36, second down repeat.
Right there, number 36. That's Dwayne Odoms, the new rookie linebacker for the Edmonton Eskimos.
So it'll be second down and 5 for the Lions. Danny Barrett trying to get this passing game for the Lions untracked. A little handoff to Volpe, hit just outside the 40-yard line after a short gain. And Larry Ruck, the new middle linebacker. Well, the Eskimos made the stop.
Good situation there by Danny Barrett as he had set up the two previous plays. And then comes back with the draw play. Larry Ruck, being the veteran that he is, wasn't surprised at all by that or fooled by it. Was able to get up there and fill the hole and tackle Volpe for the loss.
And so the pattern is developing that the Lions experienced in the preseason with a slow offensive start. They surged against both the Ottawa Rough Riders and the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the second half of the preseason games, putting most of their points on the board, but they seem to be slow developing again here tonight. Eskimos get a big block from Michael Souls, but it's not enough. And pulled down on the play was Ken Winey by Sean Millington, the former Eskimo. There is a flag down on the field.
Little different situation. We didn't see the Giz in the backfield that time, and Eddie Thomas and Ken Winey back there as the return men.
So after the long run by Williams for the touchdown, he is spelled on that punt return. And the referee sorting out the infraction. And again, the Eskimos called on a hold on a punt return. And while they sort that out, let's join Mark.
Well, Chris, the Giz looked spectacular in that touchdown beating field, but he is in a fair bit of pain. I just talked to him on the sidelines here before he went out onto the field, and he is nursing a cramp in his left hamstring. He was trying to stretch it and was running up and down the sidelines trying to loosen it up, but we do know he came into this game nursing that hamstring, and we know that Ron Lancaster is a bit concerned about the toil that his legs will take running deep patterns and playing on special teams.
Well, he didn't see much action against Saskatchewan last week with that injury, and you don't want to make it any worse in game 1 of the season, but Williams has already made an impact here tonight. Eskimos start from inside their own 15, and the handoff is to the rookie running back Mike Pringle, and he gets to the 20 before he's pushed back. Doug Hawking, there he is, the Canadian middle linebacker, makes his first tackle of the night.
I think that's all that young kid needed to do was finally get his head in there, get a tackle. We talked to him earlier about having some nervousness about playing the game. Plays it very well, reads the draw in there, takes on the Blake Marshall, which is a good running back, a good blocking back, able to fight him off, gets into Pringle's face and makes the tackle. That'll be very inspirational for that young middle linebacker.
Put that on his personal highlight reel. No one better at blocking than Blake Marshall. It was a gain of 6 for Pringle, 2nd and 4. And here is Marshall, and he slams across the 25, close to the 30. Marshall has a first down for the Eskimos, and Hocking made the stop once again.
Just a little inside trap there. Randy Ambrosi blocking, turns it upfield, and Blake Dermott is downfield blocking on Hawkins that time. Hawkins was a little slow reading the trap, coming back off, stuffed off, played it a little soft, and it allowed Blake Marshall to run for the first down.
At the 30-yard line, Eskimos first down. And there was a miscommunication between Rod Conop and Tracy Ham. Tracy tapped the helmet as if that might have been his mistake because nobody else moved.
Tracy walked up there thinking it's going to be on the first sound, and obviously Rod Conop knows that it's on to call one or the second sound, whatever it may be. Tracy's giving a little tap. Okay, it's my flow. I'll take care of it, and we'll come back and get it on the next play.
Well, it's early in the season, but you can tell Ron Lancaster not happy with that kind of error, which means it's 1st and 15. Play action with Pringle. Ham's in trouble, and down he goes. And it's its old teammate Stu Hill with his first sack of 92 after a disappointing season in which Hill only had 8 sacks a year ago.
Hawkins coming on the middle linebacker blitz right up there, picks the wrong gap, and then corrects himself, adjusts, and he's able to get in on the tackle. Stuart Hill came from the outside against Morris, forced the Tracy Ham to have to step up into the pocket, and when he did, there was Hawkins.
Hill will get credit for the sack, and it looked like Hawkins on the limp a bit. We'll watch that for you. 2nd down and now 21. 3rd sack of the game already for the Lions. Ham puts it up looking for Sandusky, and that's into the Eskimo bench where Willie Plus fielded it. And it will be 3rd down Edmonton.
Chris just taking a look down there at Hawking. He is really hobbling and really favoring his left leg on this time. Tracy Ham has plenty of time at this point to set up, but he just does not get his feet planted up underneath him, and it's an incidental hit by Stu Hill that came and kind of bumped backs together, and Tracy just wasn't expecting that hit and knocked him down.
3:28 left, first quarter, and Glenn Harper in for his 2nd punt of the game. Mark Mathis, the lone man back, and Harper did well to get that away and gets a pretty good bounce. Mathis hit by the first man, and down he goes back at the 45. And that's where the Lions will put the ball in play. We're back at BC Place Stadium, where Glenn Harper is back on the field. A holding call against the Eskimos will force Harper to punt again, and this time out of his own end zone. And as we saw in the opening game of our doubleheader, this can be rather precarious.
Lots of careless penalties taken by the Edmonton Eskimos on their special teams, both on the punting teams and the punt return teams. And these are the kind of penalties that will just frustrate the heck out of a head coach like Ron Lancaster.
Harper with the kick, and again Mathis, this time at the 47-yard line, and Mathis gets down to the 42. Willie Plus there to stop him up, along with Jed Roberts and Pierre Bercheval. That was a 38-yard kick by Harper and a 5-yard run back. And there's Dan Barrett trying to get untracked for the Lions here in this first quarter. We asked him how long it took to really get familiar with the Calgary offense and receivers. And he said to develop a rapport with Alan Pitts 2 years, but he said, I'm not making excuses. It won't take that long here, but obviously the communication lines aren't really open at the moment, and Barrett was knocked down again.
Could be pass interference against the Edmonton Eskimos on this thing. They ran a hitch and go to Flutie on the outside, and when he did, he was grabbed by the outside Eddie Thomas. I don't know if they're going to call that or not. But he hadn't clearly beat, and then also it took Dan Murphy, the safety, to be able to come over and shut it down. But we'll get the call from last week.
Holding, BC number 22, first down repeated.
John Volpe was the man caught holding there. They'll push it back. Dan Barrett 0 for 4 here late in the first quarter. First down again, 20 yards. Matt Clark's in motion, and now Mike Trevathan comes to the near side. Give Volpe, caught in the backfield, fumbled the ball, but the whistle had gone. And Willie Pless stepped up, filled a gap, and Volpe had nowhere to go.
Great anticipation by Willie Pless that time. He and Larry Ruck both coming on middle linebacker blitzes, crossing up front, trying to run the inside trap place to Volpe, and as soon as he gets the handoff, he's met right in the backfield by Willie Pless with some authority, and Larry Ruck coming in to clean it up.
Definitely one of the leaders on this Eskimo team, a 4-time All-Canadian, Willie Pless. Second and forever for the Lions, and Barrett will air it out. Looking downfield, Matt Clark seemed to be in behind Stephen Jordan, but the ball was overthrown, and Clark is Barrett's best deep threat right now without Ray Alexander.
Rich Stubler's defense, he's coming out with all-out pressure again. Both Ruck and Willie Pless coming on those middle linebacker blitz up front. Offensive line of BC picked it up very well, gave Danny Barrett the time to throw, and he almost had Matt Clark out there on a post corner, had Stephen Jordan beaten by a step or two.
Gizmo Williams is back in the game as a punt returner with Eddie Thomas. And Julio Caravata gets set with 1:24 left here in the first quarter. It's 7-0 Eskimos on a 75-yard touchdown pass from Tracy Ham to Henry Williams, who has the ball again. Millington seemed to be inside the 5-yard restraining line, and there goes the flag as Williams was stopped quickly, but the no yards will be called.
It was a late flag coming in there. The Giz knew for a fact automatically as soon as he caught the ball that Millington was inside there. And they will call it a no yards penalty against the BC Lions.
While we're celebrating 100 years of football in Canada, perhaps the most dominant name in football over those 100 years is coaching the Edmonton Eskimos tonight.
Yeah, but if you played for 65 years of those 100 years, you would have get those many yards too, Chris.
He's quite a guy. Loves to talk football.
We had a nice little coffee session this morning for about 3 hours, huh?
I lost count of the number of cups that were consumed.
Got him.
Here's Ham looking deep. Armstrong, and he got tangled up there with Mathis, and they both went down. And Ham has an incompletion.
Tracy trying to buy a little time, sprints out, moves the corner, moves the pocket a bit to the outside, and then he has plenty of time to throw the ball. We're getting a chance of here you see the double team. It's called the red and blue when they send both their running backs out there, both Pringle and Blake Marshall out there to block on Stuart Hill. And Stu just showed you what the strength that he has. He didn't like Pringle up in his face and said, get out of my face.
Pringle may not want to go to that side the next time to block. Tracy Ham now 2 for 7, 95 yards, just the big one to Williams and 120-yarder to Sandusky, and he throws this one incomplete, also an interception. So both Barrett and Ham are having a little trouble getting on track here in the first quarter.
A lot of pressure put from the outside. Again, it was Stu Hill who beat Morris very cleanly to the outside. Forced Tracy to have to come up into line. And Tracy's doing something that looks a little different early in this game. When he makes that break, earlier in his career, he would try to get it upfield, pick up the first down himself. This time he's trying to straddle the line of scrimmage, come down in parallel, and still try to complete the pass down. And he does. He's not having very good accuracy with it.
Mathis, the lone man, back to be some confusion, and he was trying to relay signals to the Lion bench, and now fields it inside his 40. Good room there. Mark Mathis into Eskimo territory and still going. Harper trying to catch him, and Mathis now has one man to beat. Clipping call will call this back as Mathis was inside the 10. And let's find out if they're going to call this back or not.
From what we saw, you've got to call it back. The rookie mistake. He has been beaten for a touchdown, and now he makes a clipping call on a clearer touchdown that Mathis was going to do even if he never threw the block. And you can take a look at Opie here. He's saying, now wait a minute, what's going? You've got to hit this guy up in the face.
Legal block, BC number 6. First down.
And that one hurts. Well, Ron Lancaster made the comment about the Eskimos, don't take the ball out of your returner's hands with a penalty. And that's exactly what the Lions did on that great return by Mark Mathis.
Absolutely, Chris. And what happened there? That block was thrown probably 3 or 4 yards behind Mark Mathis. It was absolutely useless.
So instead of a touchdown, it's first down BC at the 23-yard line. Great chance for Barrett, though. Barrett will throw in the end zone looking for Trevathan. He went up and a pass interference call is going against Stephen Jordan.
It'll be interesting now to see what they call here with the option of whether it is intentional pass interference or unintentional, whether it's 15 yards or it comes to the 1-yard line.
Well, they're calling it incidental, and they'll march it off.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton
Halfway to the goal
17.
line instead of the 15 yards, since they were at the 23, and they're now down just inside the 12. And here's another look. And not much question about that. The Mathis return, by the way, would have been 74 yards for a touchdown, but negated by that illegal block. Pitch out, Volpe cuts back inside the 10. 5, John Volpe, touchdown. Final play, first quarter, and the fans here are saying finally the offense got on track. 12-yard run for John Volpe.
John Volpe cuts back inside, eludes all the pursuit that's there. There should have been some other defenders coming and closing Larry Ruck and also Willie Press from the inside. Volpe showed great speed of being able to break it out and run away from it.
Lamley adds the extra point. And after 15 minutes of football at BC Place, it's 7-7. Welcome back to magnificent Vancouver. That's Falls Creek. And inside the dome, after 15 minutes of play, we've got a tie game between the Lions and the Eskimos. Volpe, the touchdown for BC. Gizmo Williams for the Eskimos is Wayne Lamley, a Vancouver native, kicks off. Gizmo getting plenty of work on kick returns tonight. The Eskimos thought the Lions would try to avoid that side of the field, but they've handled Gizmo well. Ahmad Field, who was off the hook with that touchdown, makes the defensive play.
Coming in, Volpe gets the toss. Dwayne Odoms cuts him back inside. Willie Press can't get up inside to feel the hole, and Volpe shows he has great speed as he runs through the corner and then releases the ball up into the stands for a souvenir.
20 touchdowns last year.
Check.
And the Pez already getting ready for Calgary in 2 weeks' time. He's got this Chicken Rickman campaign. He's got a running feud with Larry Rickman, the owner of the Stampeders, and perhaps the hottest ticket this year might be that first meeting between Calgary and BC as Mike Pringle is wrapped up and knocked out of bounds by a host of BC Lions, including Stu Hill.
Stu Hill, and also led by the young middle linebacker Hawkins, was able to get up in there, not showing much signs of that pulled muscle or whatever his leg problem was earlier in the first quarter.
Well, they hold Pringle to no gain. Pringle last spring was with Sacramento Surge at the WLAF. They won that championship. Here's Ham on second and long, and Chris Armstrong can't handle the ball. He was all by himself. He beat Mark Mathis by 3 steps. And that was nearly a catch and a fumble, but Armstrong didn't have possession long enough, and he will think about that for the rest of the night.
Good job up front blocking. Hawkins gets a good arm over and gets a little heat on Tracy Ham, but he releases the ball because he sees Armstrong so wide open down the middle. Comes in there, plays a little volleyball with it, just doesn't look it all the way in and squeeze the ball the way he can. The ball eludes him. Missed opportunity for a big 6 points.
Well, the coach told us earlier today that he thinks Chris Armstrong can really emerge as a quality receiver, but admits he didn't have a great camp and doesn't seem to be playing with the confidence that he finished last year with. He had a 3-touchdown game against the Lions here.
And unfortunately, big plays like that will not have any positive effect on that confidence. What he does have is some great athletic ability to be an inside receiver, and he matches up that great speed, and it allows him to get open, as we just saw.
So the Lions secondary appears vulnerable to the long ball here in the first half. They've got a 75-yard touchdown by Gizmo Williams, and a couple of others got in behind. This is Darren Flutie on the return for BC, pushed out of bounds at the Lions' 42-yard line. Here's an interesting story. Doug Flutie is in Calgary, but Darren Flutie apparently had the option of going too, but he wanted to stay here in BC.
Well, that says a lot for him, that he just really doesn't want to be maybe on the coattails of his brother Doug Flutie. At this point, he wants to be his own man, stay in here and make a name for Darren Flutie as an individual, and he will do a great job, I'm sure.
If you project his stats in 8 games a year ago over an 18-game season, he would have finished with 117 catches, second in the CFL. So Darren Flutie can stand on his own 2 feet. And here's a pass downfield to Trevathan into Eskimo territory, and he was really whacked by Larry Ruck. But Trevathan, 77 as a 22-yard gain. And the Lions with no huddle here, and that means Ruck has to call defensive signals quickly.
Trevathan able to elude Leroy Blue, the linebacker under the zone right there, comes back inside.
Barrett to Flutie, can't hang on as Eddie Thomas was all over him. Perhaps that no huddle is the Lions' attempt to get a little momentum going here.
Well, also at that time, try to get some momentum going, keep some big play going, and you want to hit it repetition, that one play, one successful play runs to another successful play.
Eddie Thomas, a Western All-Star a year ago, celebrating his 24th birthday today, and he's matched up against Flutie on that far side. 2nd and 10 BC. Barrett going deep. Trevathan there. Now it's intercepted. What a big defensive play by Enos Jackson. Trevathan looked open, and Jackson came from nowhere with the interception and a return to the 40-yard line. Bob Obilovich saw Trevathan wide open and can't believe that Enos Jackson closed ground.
Danny Bass just sprint out, stop, throw back to the slot on the inside. The safety had gotten out of there, and Trevathan was wide open. But the athletic ability and speed of Enos Jackson, who is probably the most experienced defensive back the Edmonton Eskimos has right now, and this time was able to close, comes back in, picks up a big interception, and turning the football going the other way.
We'd like to welcome viewers from coast to coast to BC Place Stadium in Vancouver for the second half of our CFL on CBC season opening doubleheader. Here it's the Eskimos and the Lions tied at 7 early second quarter earlier tonight. You saw a thriller at Lansdowne Park as the Ottawa Rough Riders hand the Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts an overtime defeat. First down, Edmonton. Blake Marshall crashes for 5 as we join Mark Lee.
Well, Chris, an interesting development after Chris Armstrong dropped that sure touchdown pass last series. He came off the field awfully upset. Craig Ellis gave him a helping hand, gave him some consolation. Then the coaches put the headset on him, and Tracy Ham came right over and was yelling to Bill Dietrich, who's up in the press box talking, obviously, to Armstrong in the headset. Leave him alone, Bill, leave him alone. He ripped the headset off Armstrong, told him to go be by himself and think about it. There's been some talk about who's running this football team, and that was one indication right there.
Here's Ham on the move across the 50, and he should have a first down. And Ron Lancaster wants to see Tracy Ham running the football because that's when he's the most dangerous.
Tracy Ham, his forte has been running the ball, and when he runs the ball, he puts so much pressure on any defensive team to respect that. Once they drop deep in a zone, as the BC Lions just did, Tracy comes out of containment, is able to go upfield. He is very hard to tackle one-on-one. You don't get a good shot at it. As he just did, was able to pick up a big first down and keep this drive going.
Ron Lancaster told us we're going to be successful on offense if Ham can run 80 yards a game. There's a deep pass for Henry Williams, picked off by Ahmad Field. Bob O'Gillivan said he'll make some mistakes, but he'll make some big plays. He got burned by Williams earlier. This time he has an interception against Tracy Ham, and that's Field's second of the game.
One thing that Obi said is that he has not seen a young athlete with the ability to close on a ball as quickly as he's seen Field. And at this time, he was clearly beat by Giz to the outside. The ball was somewhat underthrown, but Field, the rookie, having been beat earlier by the Giz, sure closed on the ball, made a sure hand, and at some point trying to redeem himself.
First down, BC at their own 20-yard line. Barrett puts it up, and there was some obvious misdirection there as he was looking for Matt Clark, and Clark pulled up, and there is Field.
Come and automatic cover me. Go to base, and then he'll jam it inside. You just think about contain, all right? Let that be an automatic cover me.
Tell you what, he's played 18 minutes of CFL football, and he's already got 2 interceptions. Second and 10 for Barrett. Sprinting out, Benny Goods hits him, and Barrett throws it away, and Goods really leveled Barrett. Says, welcome to BC.
Well, Benny's kind of walking around there and said, don't come over here anymore, because I'll have something for you the next time you come. I'm going to hit you just a little bit harder. Danny's got enough time. He sees that Good is outside of him. Probably could have turned out and stopped and planted and get his shoulders punted upfield and had a little more ability to get something on that ball. Benny Goods, the Edmonton Eskimos are tremendously high on him after last year's performance, and he's had a pretty good camp coming to the Edmonton Eskimo camp in 1992.
The only thing we did not expect tonight was a defensive battle. Maybe we'll get one here. 7-7, second quarter. 3 interceptions in the game so far.
The one thing that Ronnie Lancaster wants to see right now is a punt return without a penalty on it.
Williams again, and he's in BC territory inside the 45-yard line. Hasn't sprung one yet, but he has given great field position to the Eskimos after just a 30-yard Caravetta punt. Here again is Mark.
Thanks, Chris. Well, I'm joined by Trevor Bowles, one of the veteran offensive linemen with the Edmonton Eskimos. And if there's ever an example of how violent football is, it's this injury that you have. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, it was a violent injury, actually. I was in practice, and I had my left pec was injured, and I was working out quite heavily to try to get that back. I was overcompensating with the right, and I tore the right one right in half, and they sewed it back together.
How long are you going to be out?
Could be the season, but it looks like we're shooting for the end. Hopefully I'll be back by the end. I can rehab it and come back.
There's a rookie from U of T, Chris Morris, who has filled your spot. You've watched him. You've given him some counseling here in the sidelines. How's he doing? He's
doing very well. He's holding his own. You know, it's a tough induction into the league against Stu Hill, but he's doing really well. He's got great physical skills. He's got a lot of learning to do, but he's going to be a good one in this league.
Okay, Trevor, thanks for your time.
I'd like to say hi to somebody. I'd like to say hi to my brother, Brad.
Okay, thanks. Chris?
All right, thanks. Mark and Trevor. Here's Mike Pringle with his first pass reception, and Pringle's down to the 33-yard line, and he'll have a first down.
Definitely this game. It's a good thing 2 ways. One, Pringle was not the intended receiver right there. Just a little safety valve pass. Actually had been beaten earlier up front, and then Tracy was able just to see him with the pressure coming in his face and dump it off to him, and Pringle making a good move and being able to keep the drive alive.
We certainly hope that rehab goes well for Trevor Bowles, but there is a fear it may be a career-ending injury. He's got some work ahead of him. Here's Blake Marshall, has room right side, and he's running over people. He ran right over Chris Major down to the 18-yard line, and that one hurt.
This is the one thing that Blake has been so well at doing, and he does very well. Again, when the defensive line crowds the line of scrimmage and he's able to break the line of scrimmage between the defensive linemen, the next point of defense is the secondary. And there is nobody in the secondary that wants to meet Blake Marshall head up one-on-one, as Chris Major just found out.
Shotgun went awry. I think the Lions have the football. That one appeared to go off the foot of Tracy Ham, and Keith Poe, who has 2 sacks, adds a fumble recovery to an impressive first half defensively. Didn't look like Ham was ready for that one.
Tracy set up very well in the shotgun, just did not look like he was ready for the snap to come. And the snap wasn't that low, and he could have been down there and picked it up, and as he did, the ball dropped down, kicked it up in front of Poe, who's having an excellent first half for the BC defense.
A couple of interceptions, now the fumble. And a drop pass that should have been a touchdown by Chris Armstrong, and that has limited the Eskimos to 7 points in the first half. Here's Volpe up the middle, really whacked, and it's Jed Roberts with the football down to the 11, and what a play that was. Volpe in a real collision, and Jed Roberts, a defensive end, picked up the ball and did some running of his own.
Willie Pless showed why he's the mainstay with this Edmonton defense right now. Tried to run the inside run to this play. Willie Pless comes in from the left side. You take a look at Ruck right here, but at the top of the screen, Willie Pless will come in there out of nowhere and levels Volpe. And again, causes the fumble. The big defensive end, Jed Roberts, picks it up and rambles with some authority down to about the 10, 12-yard line.
He's got the job if anything ever happens to Blake Marshall. Willie Pless with the hit. Volpe caught the football up 7 times last year. A fumble here has given the Eskimos first down and 10 from the BC 11. Ham now in trouble, and he just got rid of the football. No Eskimo receiver near it, and the Lions pleading for a grounding penalty.
Hawking was there up in Tracy's face. That's kind of the decision now. Tracy, being a veteran that he is, of trying to eat the ball. You've got to tuck it away, because the only 2 people that were anywhere close to that ball were 2 BC defenders. As Tracy comes out, they're in a man-to-man coverage. He's got the call that he wants, and all of a sudden Stewart comes from the outside. Tracy starts to run, and you got to be able to tuck that ball down and get some authority on it.
Fans making noise as the defense digs in. 2nd and 10. And looking for Sandusky. Does he bring it down? Touchdown, Eskimos. Sandusky with Chris Major draped all over him. Well, the former BC Lion showed you his great hands there, Jim Sandusky.
Sandusky himself relates a lot to a guy by the name of Brian Kelly, a guy that doesn't think he's got so much speed. The defenders do not really respect him as much, but he has very deceptive speed, as he shows right there on Chris Majors.
10 touchdowns a year ago for Sandusky. He has the go-ahead marker here. And Sean Fleming adds the extra point. 6:49 to go. First half, 14-7 Eskimos. Back at BC Place Stadium, Jim Sandusky, a 12-yard touchdown pass from Tracy Ham. And with 6:49 to go in the first half, the Eskimos have restored their touchdown lead. Sean Fleming, like Wayne Lamley, playing in his first CFL game, and also a native of Vancouver, which I'm sure adds to the excitement and the pressure. Kicking this one, and it will be Field, taking it out of the hands of Eric Starr, and Field down right at the 30-yard line. Is Field a great athlete? He was an NCAA champion in the 400-meter hurdles. And he has had an impact on this first half with a couple of interceptions. Danny Barrett, after a slow start, appears to be getting things going offensively, as he'll now work out of the shotgun behind that great offensive line of the Lions. Lots of time, throws in the flat. There's Darren Flutie with a completion. Eddie Thomas takes him out of bounds.
Great timing route and pattern route by Flutie that time. Just running the out. Danny Barrett having plenty of time and shows why he is such a good possession type quarterback. Sends it back in the shotgun formation, receives the snap, and throws the ball out there very, very firmly to Flutie.
When asked about the defense of the Lions, which has been questioned second and short, Dan Barrett said he's got to help that defense by playing ball control, keeping the ball away from the other team, and in this case tonight, from the explosive Tracy Ham.
Works both ways, the same thing. That defense can stay off the field and rest it over there, and Tracy Ham stays off the field and can't score any points. But then when that BC defense does get on the field, is to get the ball back to a guy like Danny Barrett as quickly as possible, because they know they'll make something happen.
First down, Lions. Barrett in the flat. Matt Clark can't catch it. The brilliant rookie season for Matt Clark. And many here in BC thought he should have been the top Canadian and not Blake Marshall. We'd now like to welcome viewers from the east to BC Place Stadium in Vancouver, BC on a gorgeous night on the West Coast. Inside the Dome with 5:35 to go. First half, it's the Eskimos 14, the Lions 7. And BC has the football. Second and 10, and Barrett going deep. Overthrows Trevathan, who was tied up with Enos Jackson. And Jackson thought Trevathan interfered him.
The exact identical pattern that before Enos Jackson intercepted on Trevathan. Danny Barrett sprints out to his left, sets up behind the tackle, turns, throws back. Enos Jackson showing great speed. He's stride for stride with Trevathan down the field. No chance for a completion there.
For the Eastern viewers, Henry Williams opened the scoring, 75-yard touchdown pass. Midway through the first quarter, John Volpe, a 12-yard run, tied it on the final play of the opening 15 minutes. And Jim Sandusky has just scored for the Eskimos on a 12-yard pass from Tracy Ham here in the second quarter. Caravana just got that away. And Williams has it again, and he might have some room if he can get outside. Just slowed down and stopped for a loss. Lord King made the tackle, but Donald Miller made a great defensive play. Just grabbed Gizmo by the shirt to slow him up. Out of town tonight, we had a couple of thrillers. In Ottawa, the Rough Riders in overtime, 53-42 over the defending Grey Cup champions, Keith Poe, the injured player for BC. And Winnipeg came back to beat Hamilton in overtime at Ivor Wynne. Heartbreaker for the Tiger Cats, 36-33. Troy Westwood, the hero there, with a field goal in the last minute of overtime. And just a network message that our next commercial break will be number 8 as the training staff attends to Keith Poe, who has had a strong first half with a fumble recovery and 2 sacks. We're going to take a break. This is commercial in position number 8 with 4:53 left in the first half at BC Place Stadium. All the medical staff is attending to Keith Poe now as he was helped off to the sidelines. Poe's been a force so far in this game at defensive end. And Bob Ovilovich sees his team down by 7 here late in the second quarter. First down, Eskimos at their own 35-yard line. This is the rookie Mike Pringle, and he's stopped up right at the line of scrimmage. Glenn Scribner, 72, newly acquired from Saskatchewan, takes Poe's place at defensive tackle.
Big addition. They think right now, hopefully they're not going to lose a lot with Scribner in there, playing defensive tackle. Big, strong fella, coming in at 6'4", 275, and able he can carry a load and get up in there and cause some problems defensively.
Well, it was a problem defensively for the Lions when they lost Canadian defensive lineman Derek McCready on the first day of practice with a knee injury. They really think McCready is going to be one of the top Canadian linemen in the league. Time count violation against the Eskimos, and they'll walk it back 5. But that changes the whole Canadian import ratio when a great Canadian like McCready goes down. So they use an extra import on the line, and that's one of the reasons Bob Ovilovich cut in a controversial move veteran Bruce Holmes at linebacker to go with Doug Hocking in the middle. Kind of a chain reaction was started with that injury on the first day of training camp. Ham downfield, Sandusky, great catch, and he's at the 50-yard line. Well, you mentioned earlier that Sandusky's in the mold of a Brian Kelly, and that was vintage Sandusky or Kelly.
Absolutely, yes, they do. They took Armstrong that time, cleared him out with a triple receivers to the wide side. All Sandusky did was to come into the open area, goes up high, catches the ball behind him, shows what great concentration he has for a wide out.
25-yard gain again. They had trouble out of that shotgun, and Ham's in trouble. Down he goes. Stu Hill was there. Also Reggie Johnson. Let's review what's happened tonight. Gizmo Williams with an electrifying 75-yard touchdown pass to open the scoring. John Volpe tied it. And that was how it stood after one quarter. Here in the second quarter, Sandusky with a touchdown pass. Second down, 12. Ham has time over the middle. There's Sandusky again. He's been the payoff receiver for the Eskimos in this first half. In the past, it's often been Craig Ellis, but Tracy Ham and Jim Sandusky are on the same wavelength right now. It's a first down, Eskimos. We'll be back at BC Place Stadium after this. The Edmonton Eskimos were 5-4 on the road last year, enjoying this road trip so far, and why not? What a beautiful night here in Vancouver. The Gulf Islands in the distance and inside. These fans treated to an interesting first half, which for the most part has been dominated by the defenses. 14-7 Eskimos. First down, Edmonton, and some movement along the line.
Tracy comes up and brings Edmonton's version of the six-pack there. Six receivers, takes Blake Marshall out of the fullback, moves him up to the wide receiver. You can see some of the comparison between the two quarterbacks here. Tracy Ham well with the advantage over Danny Barrett. Again, at this time, comes back to the play. He's got the six-pack set up there. Pierre Bercheval moved very quickly all the time. Illegal procedure, have to move it back. First and 15.
Danny Barrett looking on as his counterpart has outshot him so far tonight. The script following the same course as the two preseason games for the Lions. Slow start for their quarterback. Here's Mike Pringle breaking a tackle, getting down to the 36-yard line. On first and 15, Pringle reels off 10 yards.
Inside draw play to Pringle, shows a little power there as far as he can get away from the defensive lineman, be able to burst it up the field and pick up a considerable amount of yardage.
Hill with the stop. Always seems to play his best against his old team. They give Pringle 11, and so it is 2nd and 4, and the Eskimos execute that shotgun snap better this time, and Chris Armstrong has the first down out of bounds at the 28. That may restore his confidence after dropping a sure touchdown earlier in the game.
And take a look now, the halfback on that slide is number 21. That's Eric Starr out of Tar Heel. He's a University of North Carolina fella. This is not a guy that was slated as playing a defensive back. He was listed about 3rd on the roster as far as being a running back or a DI. And at this time, they got burnt with Mathis earlier, and they got him out of there.
Ham, first down. Hill looking for him, but Ham delivers downfield. Let's see, they are ruling it. A catch at the 11-yard line by Craig Ellis, and that's the first time Ellis has caught a pass tonight, the 103rd consecutive game that he has done so.
This was a marriage that was made a couple of years ago, Craig Ellis and Tracy Ham. Craig knows for a fact Tracy has the ability to work outside and to keep working and try to get open. And we can see right there, as the ball hit him in the chest, came out as an incompleted pass.
Well, they ruled it complete, however. The Lions were trying to wave it off. Here's Pringle, trying the short side. Pringle down to the goal line, and he'll be just stopped short. I mentioned Craig Ellis at 103 games now. Tony Gabriel, the all-time CFL record, 137 consecutive games. Tom Scott second with 116. But Craig Ellis is certainly making his mark in the history books. 78 touchdowns, his top 10 all-time.
Greg came off the side. You saw those eyes get wide. You could read the lips. That ball was dropped. He knew it. But he'll take it right now, and so will Ronnie Lancaster and the Edmonton Eskimos.
And the Eskimos have the first down at the 1-yard line. Trying to add to their lead here. Offensive line now down and ready to surge forward. Marshall and Souls in the backfield. Ham keeps it. No signal yet. Now it is a touchdown. Tracy Ham in Edmonton.
Flag down on the play, Chris.
Offside, BC
Lions
number
jump.
37, decline, touchdown.
Donald Miller jumped, but it's an Eskimo touchdown for Tracy Ham with 1:17 to go here in the first half.
We count it back. Tracy just takes the snap, follows that big offensive line right behind him, gets over for the score. BC's offside. Edmonton was short one guy on that short yardage play also. They only had 11 out there.
Bad snap. Glenn Harper, great fielding job. Keeps it alive, passing to Marshall. And this one goes for naught. They had trouble on the first snap for a convert in the first quarter, but Harper did a good job. That time he couldn't field it, but Ron Lancaster mentioned today that Harper's addition to the team was a good asset and that he was terrific on holds, but he couldn't handle that snap. He can throw the ball, but that time Eric Starr didn't give him a chance.
The snap itself was not that bad. Harper just took his eyes off the ball a little bit, wasn't able to put it down on the tee for the conversion.
So the Eskimos have not been without their mistakes in this first half, but lead 20-7. As Craig Ellis reflects on the catch that perhaps shouldn't have been, which set up that touchdown.
One thing taken into consideration for Ronnie Lancaster and the Edmonton Eskimos, they have been making a lot of mistakes, a lot of mental errors out there, but they're still ahead 20-7.
Fleming with the kick, and here is Ahmad Field. And he can really crank it up, but the Eskimos close the hole in a hurry. Field down at the 35-yard line. Well, we were celebrating 100 years of Canadian football, and speaking of old players, there's a familiar number, 42, the most outstanding defensive player in 77, 80, and 81, a CFL All-Star linebacker, 5 straight years, and he could still line up.
I tell you what cornerstone did you dig those out? Because it was buried deep, I'm sure about.
Pre-video. Old 8mm stuff. Here's Volpe on the swing pass. Beats one man. Out near the 45-yard line. Volpe will be just short of a BC first down. Wearing number 22, last year worn by Doug Flutie. It's John's old high school number.
Danny Barrett doing a good job that time of setting up the screen, dumping it off to Volpe out there, getting that offensive line out in front of him, gets a big surge, and it makes it second and short for the BC Lions.
Minute to go, first half. 2nd and 1, and they will keep it on the ground. Mike Marasco with the first down, and he's up to the 52-yard line as we join Mark Lee.
Thank you, Chris. Coming up on Live at the Half, we'll have a full report from Ottawa from Scott Oak on those 2 wild overtime finishes in the East. Ottawa defeating Toronto 53-42. Winnipeg beating Hamilton 36-33, all in overtime. And I'll be joined by Louis Pasaglia as we talk about whether or not his career is finished as he enters his 18th season as the CFL's all-time leading scorer.
Popilovich barking out instructions from the sidelines after the Barrett incompletion, and you can tell Danny's not sharp. This is not the Danny Barrett we saw in Calgary, and clearly still adapting to the Lions offense. Second down, pressure on, and Barrett's down. Larry Ruck, the middle linebacker, with the sack of Dan Barrett.
This is the kind of thing I think that Danny Barrett's having a tough time adjusting. Not so much the BC offense, but what the Edmonton defense is doing to him right now. Willie Pless comes in there, takes over two inside linemen, and again, here you see Larry Ruck coming from the outside around the tackle, shows great speed, able to get up in front of Danny Barrett's face and gets a big sack on him. This is the kind of thing that Rich Stubler has been noted for with his defense, very similar to something like Don Matthews. He has a sick-em kind of attitude. He will get after you. He lives on the edge himself. He lives by the sword, dies by the sword, plays very little zone out there, and he will send these defensive guys on the blitz almost every time.
Larry Ruck, a 9-year veteran, but he says playing in the middle makes him feel like a rookie again. And he's had a strong first half in that position. Caravana once again on the field. Eskimos may get another chance to do some offensive damage. There's 41 seconds to go, and Gizmo's under this punt. And Gizmo's into the open field. Caravana with the big tackle. Otherwise, Gizmo was gone for his 15th career punt return touchdown. You don't see a punter make a better tackle than that. And Gizmo is down and shaken up.
Good receive right there, and Giz does a great job of picking his spots, makes the cutback back across, leaves himself wide open in the thigh area as Caravetta comes across, gets the helmet right on the right thigh. Again, hopefully it was just in a good place right in the thigh pad, and Giz is not banged up too much. The one thing that really surprises me, Chris, is the fact that at this point there is a big field out there, and Caravetta lines up and kicks the ball directly to Giz every time. It's almost like he's trying to challenge not only the Giz, but also showing some confidence on that punt cover team that I believe that you're going to be able to get down there and we're going to shut this guy down. Unfortunately, it has not been the case in the game so far.
I think the most surprised people are the Eskimos. They told us earlier today that the Lions would not kick it at Gizmo Williams. Williams seems to be okay. He's given the Eskimos good field position, but Mike Pringle wrapped up there by second-year linebacker O.J. Brigance.
Brigance with Chris. Brigance with a little hoppling around. Also, we get a shot at Giz on the sideline. He'll walk it off, and he's tough. Giz is one of the toughest players in this league.
34-yard punt return for Williams. Here is Ham over the middle, and it's a completion to Ken Winey. That's his first catch as an Edmonton Eskimo. Winey, the backup slot back, gives Edmonton a first down. And
coming in, Winey knows also, keeps working into the middle. Hawkins, the linebacker, is up front in there and is able to see Winey get behind him and complete his pass.
Eskimos had the field goal unit on quickly, but they'll try one more play. Sandusky out of bounds at the 20-yard line with 5 seconds to play. And so that will make this field goal attempt for Sean Fleming, the rookie, a little bit easier. So there appeared to be a little confusion there as Ham wanted one more shot before the field goal unit came on.
A little conversation there between Tracy Ham and Nelson, who happens to be the specialty team coach and linebacker coach on the side, about what was supposed to transpire.
27-yard attempt from the near hash marks. Harper just got it down, and Fleming has his first CFL field goal. The University of Wyoming rookie nailed that one and adds to the Eskimo lead. It's now 23-7.
Wasn't an easy kick either. As you see the tight shot here, the ball was a little low, but Harper did fumble the ball, but showed great composure by getting it on the tee, even turning the laces and allowing Fleming to be able to kick the ball for his first field goal.
Well, if he had any jitters, didn't show them there.
Very composed young player right there.
A great camera shot there as we saw Harper's hold. Flemings seems to be a very confident young man. In fact, he wasn't booming his punts early in training camp, and he suggested to the media entourage that he was kind of just going to ease himself into playing shape, and he'd be in full gear by mid-season, until I think the Eskimo coaching staff had a few words and said, you know, we want you ready for game 1.
There's a lot of guys out there working 9 to 5 that tried to ease themselves into the league.
Marasco on this kick return on the final play of the first half. He was stopped up, and the Lions will have to regroup. At halftime, the Eskimos with the lead, 23-7.
Welcome to Live at the Half here at BC Place Stadium, where the Edmonton Eskimos lead the BC Lions 23-7. Well, there were 2 wild games in the East tonight, both decided in overtime. Let's go to Scott Oak now in Ottawa for those stories.
Well, Mark, for entertainment value, could you match what happened out here in the East tonight? I don't think so, as we had 2 games that both required extra time to decide. First, let's check out what happened at Arborwind Stadium in Hamilton. As the stage was set for a major win by the Ticats, 20,000 fans, new owners, and at one point the Ticats had the Bombers by a couple of touchdowns. But the game went to overtime, and there a Troy Westwood field goal decided the issue in the favor of Winnipeg. Bombers won it 36-33, and Matt Dunnigan had his first win at quarterback for the Blue.
Nobody wanted to quit. Everybody just kept competing. We just kept working. And, you know, defense keep coming out the field, and offense keep telling them, hey, you know, we're going to get some points. We're going to get some points. And somehow, you know, it happened, and we got some points, and we were able to get some things going. And field position, you know, early on in the third quarter, we got field position turnover and put it in for Major, and thank goodness for that. But it was just a case of never letting up.
Bombers won with head coach and general manager Cal Murphy in the cardiac care unit of a Winnipeg hospital, where he's been for 8 days. He checked in last week after suffering an attack of angina. Urban Bowman was the winning coach for Winnipeg tonight. Here in Ottawa, Ron Smeltzer's head coaching debut was a success as his Rough Riders handled the Argonauts for the first time in 16 games. This one went to overtime, and the strength of this touchdown pass from Tom Burgess to James Ellingson. Burgess red hot tonight. This TD tied the game at 36 in the dying seconds of regulation time and forced overtime, and there it was a huge, albeit a short run by Reggie Barnes that decided the issue in the favor of the Rough Riders, who won it 53-42. And here is one of the Rough Rider heroes of this victory, Tom Burgess. Tom, you weren't supposed to be able to beat the Argonauts like this.
Well, it's been a long time coming for this team beating the Argos. I had a bad year against the Argos myself, and you couldn't have scripted a better type of a win for us right now. We needed to come from behind. We needed to show character. We needed to do the things that they haven't done here in a while, and it was a great win for us. You know, I'm truly happy that it was against the Argos that we could do it as well.
This is the kind of start to the season that you dream about?
It's up there. You know, I'd take one play back, but you know, if it wasn't for that play, we might not have had to come back, and we might not have had to show some character in the overtime. So maybe that play was a blessing.
Don't be so hard on yourself. You were full value for the victory. Congratulations, Tom.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
All right, then, as Live at the Half continues, let's go back to Mark Lee at BC Place in Vancouver.
Thanks, Scott. Well, a local boy who made good here in Vancouver is a guy named Louis Pasaglia, but he's not a boy anymore. He's 38 years old. For 17 years, he's played in the CFL, and he has the all-time scoring record here in the league with 2,522 points. Pasaglia passed Edmonton's Dave Cutler last year right here at BC Place Stadium, and his surefire kicking has been one of the mainstays of the BC Lions, but he's hurt, and he has been cut, and he has not started his 18th season here in the CFL. There you see his results, 2,522 points. He's the third-time all-time leading player here with longevity in the CFL. He is the longest-serving BC Lion, having played 17 seasons, Louis. But people are a little bit concerned that this may be the end of the line for you because you've got a hurt hamstring. What's the situation?
Well, you know, everybody looks at your age and they think, is it over for you? I don't believe that. Everybody gets hurt. Athletes get hurt. It just happened to me during training camp. I never really gave my injury a time to heal, and it happened again in the last exhibition game. And what I'm trying to do now is give it a couple weeks and see if I can play. Now, again, you're right. You know, I'm not playing tonight. We've got a couple of young kids doing a fairly good job tonight, and you might lose your job. But that's how I came in the league, and that goes with the territory. Hopefully, the coaches can realize that when I'm healthy, that I can still play, contribute, and maybe I'll get a chance. But as of right now, I'm sitting on the sidelines watching. It's really bugging me watching the guys play, but there's nothing I can do about it. All I can do is take care of my injury and hopefully come back 100%.
Bob Obilovich, your coach, was telling me the other day that you're kind of in the doghouse with him because of the way that you got hurt. What were you doing, like trying to tackle a guy returning a punt during practice?
Well, it was practice, and really there was no need for me to try to run the guy down, but it was a semi-controlled scrimmage, and the guy broke through the line, and I tried to chase him down, and I didn't know if I should or shouldn't. In the last minute, I tried to turn it on, and the legs aren't the same as they were 15 years ago, and I just pulled a muscle again, but hopefully I'll be okay in a week or so.
After playing 17 seasons in the CFL, what is it that keeps you coming back for more?
Well, I love the game of football, and it's fun playing Canadian football. If I had a choice between watching this game or any type of football anywhere in the world, I'd come out and watch Canadian football. And, you know, if I could contribute and be part of the game still, and knowing that I can go out there and do a good job and have fun at it, you know, I've done it for 17 years. It's hard to get that out of your system, and I know that I can go out there and compete. So, you know, hopefully the time isn't there yet. I know this year when I went into camp, and in the last game I had a fairly decent game before I got hurt, then I know I can still do the job. So hopefully I'll still have a chance in a week or so.
Well, Godspeed. I hope your leg recovers quickly and you get back out here on the football field where you belong.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Luis Pisaglia, 17-year veteran of the CFL, the CFL's all-time leading scorer. Live at the Half continues on the CFL on CBC right after this. BC Place Stadium, where the Eskimos lead the Lions 23-7 at the half. And there are more than just footballs bouncing around here at BC Place Stadium, where they are still celebrating Canada's 125th anniversary. A 140-foot bungee jump by Christine Fraser of Calgary, showing the banner, Happy Birthday Canada 125. This was Christine's highest bungee jump ever, 150 feet. It beats her previous jump of 130. I've seen some daring plays here in the first half, but that is the biggest one of halftime here at BC Place. All right, let's look at the first half highlights upstairs with Chris and Dan.
Kepley thought playing middle linebacker was tough. We've got our feet firmly planted on the ground, Dan. We expected an offensive shootout, but your defensive friends did a pretty good job in the first half.
Taking into consideration all the changes that have been made, some of the injuries it's been a very exciting defensive game, and it's the kind of thing that the offense will certainly start to mold as this game goes on, and these quarterbacks get a chance to take a look at the defenses that they're actually playing against.
Well, we've selected as our play of the first half a defensive play with the score tied at 7. Gizmo Williams with the touchdown, Volpe with the touchdown, but here Volpe with the fumble.
Should have never had a defensive guy as the color man, but all of a sudden you see Larry Ruck standing here, cuts and gets away from the block of Sinclair, comes back inside. Volpe is hit head on by Willie Placid this time. Then the ball is picked up by Jed Roberts, who rambles in with great grace, jumps over the thing, sets up the play on about the 12-yard line. Subsequently, Ham hits Sandusky for a touchdown, and that's the way the ball games is played, and it's very exciting that the offense and defensive teams can count on each other to turn the ball over, and then once they do defensively turn the ball over to Ham, something big happens.
Neither offense seems to be in gear yet. Jim Sandusky, the most reliable weapon so far. It's 23-7 as we approach the second half. Welcome back to Vancouver as we get set to kick off the second half of this season opening game at BC Place Stadium between the Lions and the Eskimos. The visitors with a 23-7 lead as they kick it off. And again, it's a Mod Field, the rookie cornerback, and he fumbles the football. Let's see if he can recover. He's going the wrong way. Back down at the 5-yard line. Dan Murphy with the stop, and Field, who has been burnt a couple of times and brilliant on a couple of interceptions, makes a rookie mistake there. Here are the halftime numbers. And the clear edge to the Eskimos.
Well, without a doubt here as far as the net yardage, but the big thing is the time of possession. And the big thing between these two plays, also these two teams, is the number of turnovers that have taken place in this first half, along with the number of penalties between the two teams.
Tony Kimbrough starting the second half at quarterback for the Lions. This continues to follow the script of the preseason. Kimbrough in the flat to Trevathan. Kimbrough was brilliant in a preseason game against the Ottawa Roughriders. He came in second half relief for Danny Barrett and threw 3 touchdown passes against the Roughriders. I don't think we've seen the last of Barrett tonight. What do you think, Dan?
Well, I wouldn't think so. I think at this point, maybe Coach Obi has decided to take him off, to let him sit on the sideline, take a look at that Edmonton defense from a perspective of not having to run away from it, and then be able to put him back in with a better perspective of what's happening out there.
Second down, close to 3 yards. Volpe on the pitch, cuts back, and he is hit hard at the 15-yard line by Benny Goods and stopped short of the first down.
Great gap cancellation scheme by the Edmonton defense at this point. Shuts everything off down to the play side on the right side of the offense there, and then allows Volpe to have to cut back. And when you cut back, you meet the trailing guys like Benny Good.
And so the Eskimos' first possession of this second half should be an ideal field position. Caravana again with Gizmo deep. Eddie Thomas is also back as a returner, but Henry Williams has a license to catch anything he can get near.
And he didn't have a problem getting near anything.
Here he goes. But good contain there by the BC Lions, and so it will be a little flare up there as Gizmo is heated up over something. He didn't like the way the Lions took him out of bounds, and Dan Murphy may have the toughest job of all, trying to restrain his teammate. There's Danny Barrett over there playing peacemaker. I think Williams is having words with one of the Lions staff.
Well, we'll take a little look at it here as Giz slides off the knee. You can see he really lightens up, and he's just got a hold on him. That's Paul Wetmore, the outside linebacker. Still got a hold on him. Giz took offense to that and decided to say a few words to him. Tempers are short here in BC Place.
And Dan Murphy gets Gizmo to safety. Tracy Ham, after a slow start, got this Eskimo offense moving in the second quarter. Play action. And throwing downfield. Just past the outstretched hands of Michael Souls, who came out of the backfield. Donald Miller, the outside linebacker, step for step with Souls. And there are the numbers for Ham. Touchdown passes to Sandusky and Williams.
Respectable numbers for the first half, considering the amount of penalties and some of the areas and overthrown balls that were taking place in that first half.
2nd and 10. The Eskimos will operate out of a shotgun that has been misfiring at times tonight. Pass for Ellis, almost picked off, but Remy Trudell could not pull it in.
In the shotgun, Tracy got the situation he wanted, man coverage downfield, plenty of time to throw the ball. And again, as it came right here, the ball tipped off Craig Ellis's hand, the ball off of the carpet. And you can see right there that number 19, Remy Trudeau, almost had his hands underneath it, but it's incompleted. Edmonton will be punting it away.
Glenn Harper has had an edge in the kicking department tonight against Caravana. And this time we'll send it downfield to Darren Flutie. Good kick, Flutie from his 13. And the Eskimos contain him well behind the play. There's a little pushing match, but nothing comes of that. Ron Lancaster told us earlier today that the thing that worried him about this game was giving up the big play. And through the first 30 minutes, his defense did not do that. Pretty solid first half of work for the Eskimo defensive core. Tony Kimbrough remains the quarterback. Out the flat to Trevathan with some running room. It's not a big play, but a confidence builder for Kimbrough and the Lions outside the 40-yard line before the safety Dan Murphy took Trevathan out of play.
Good look right here. Danny Barrett throwing the play out, but you're going to see right at the bottom of your screen was Flutie coming in, and he picked actually the defender that was going to tackle Trevathan at this point, and he was able to get in there as far as Tony Kimbrough.
Kimbrough has his initial first down of the night at the 42-yard line of BC. Looking for Trevathan again. Can't hold on the far side of the field. Well, do they miss Doug Flutie? So far tonight, they have. What a season average they had, as they set all kinds of records a year ago, and just 71 yards tonight. What did Flutie have last night? 432 and 4 touchdown passes. And
everybody's asking in here, if we traded for him, then what's the guy that we traded for doing on the sideline?
Danny Barrett took the Stampeders to the Grey Cup final, but he has a tough task here. Kimbrough over the middle. There's Trevathan. Close to a first down, but I'm not sure he has it. Wrapped up on the play by Dwayne Odom, the rookie. Let's see where the forward progress
Low angles as Kimbrough sprints out, throws back, and really that would be a mismatch in a zone defense as far as Trevathan working against Odom, the rookie, and he does an excellent job, and Kimbrough does a good job of getting the ball to him.
They give the Lions a pretty good spot here, and that will force a measurement. BC 0-2 in the preseason, and in both preseason games against Ottawa and Hamilton, they fell far behind early, but came back big in the second half to close within a touchdown, and in fact in both games were threatening to score as time ran out, and they certainly hope they can create that kind of excitement in the second half. So it's third down and short, and the Lions will go for it. Behind that big offensive line, Kimbrough should have it, but there is a flag on the play.
Seems to never fail at that time. That defensive guys want to crowd that 1 yard no man's land that they have to respect. At this point, it may have been the call against the Edmonton Eskimos.
Offside, Edmonton line, first down BC.
Was the case, as he does not even establish a number. It was the line perhaps encroaching on that 1 yard, and it's a first down for the Lions at the Eskimo 53-yard line. Two coaches with question marks about their defense coming in. Here's the reverse to Trevathan, and he was taken right into the tacklers. Jim Mills was double-teamed, the all-Canadian offensive tackle, and Trevathan didn't have anywhere to go.
Didn't fool anybody of the Edmonton defense. Comes in there with a reverse to Trevathan. Odoms is outside, does his great job of turning the ball back inside to the pursuit of Larry Ruck. Larry Ruck does an excellent job, shows the speed, and a sure tackler.
Tony Kimbrough started his CFL career in Ottawa. 4 years now. This is his second year with the Lions. Second down. He has Flutie, who got away from Damian Lyons for a first down. And Kimbrough's injecting a bit of a spark here.
Maybe caught that Edmonton defense off guard a little bit. You're not expecting him to come and throw a wide side out. Flutie does a good job. Little turn inside, gets a step or two on Damon Island, and then all of a sudden, that Kimbrough is able to throw the ball out there with some authority for the big completion.
First down, 37-yard line of Edmonton. Give to Volpe. And he is pushed back. Lloyd Lewis was there. Lewis, the acquisition from the Ottawa Rough Riders, stops Volpe behind the line of scrimmage.
Great acquisition to the Edmonton defense. Couldn't have come at a better time. Inside handoff. Volpe trying to get behind Big Mills. And Lloyd Lewis is not having anything to do that. As soon as that block comes down, he trails right behind and falls right into the trap play and is able to stop Volpe for a loss.
7-year veteran, 50 sacks in his illustrious career. Didn't start the game, but the Eskimos shuttling in some defensive linemen. Kimbrough again, and Flutie just couldn't reach that one. And it will be 3rd down. But this drive started deep. And for the first time in the game, we saw some ball possession offense by the Lions.
A real confidence builder for that BC offense. Again, going back to Darren Flutie, as you see him there, they look alike, they sound alike, they run alike. Darren Flutie, and he gets him isolated out there on Damian Lyons. Again, tried to throw the out to him and was unable to get it as an incompletion.
There you see the numbers on Wayne Lamley. Utah, but this is his first CFL field goal attempt from 45 yards out. And he's good. 45-yarder by Lamley. And the score now is 23-10.
Welcome back to BC Place Stadium. Well, this is the 100th anniversary of organized football in Canada, and one player who certainly added to the history and heritage of this game is the guy they called Dirty 30, Jimmy Young. And Jim, you played in the decade of the 70s. Would you say that was the glory time, or the glory years for the CFL?
In some ways it was, and in other ways it was the same as now. There were problems, money problems, teams worrying about money, but somehow we came through it, and the 80s got big, and a lot bigger fans, a lot bigger attendance figures, and we're just putting it together again. And it's nice to see the new owners in the league and some upsets happening like Ottawa tonight.
Thanks for your time. Nice to talk to you. Chris?
Thanks, Mark. Dirty 30, one of the great stars in CFL past, as Chris Armstrong is dumped as he hit the 30-yard line for the Eskimos. That was a 54-yard drive by the Lions for their 45-yard field goal. And now Tracy Ham back on the field. His lead is 13 points.
Getting back to Dirty 30 for a minute there, Chris. As long as he was on the field, he sure kept you interested in the game, because you kept your head on a swivel all the time, or else he'd stick it right in your ear hole and put you right out in the nickel seats.
Now, I've heard the same description of our new commissioner, Larry Smith. He wouldn't do that, would he?
Larry Smith has had his moments. The commish.
First down, Eskimos, and the give is to the rookie Pringle. Flag goes down as Pringle is stopped at the 37. And a game of 5. The rookie Doug Hocking with the stop, but this one is coming back on a holding call against the Eskimos.
Holding, Edmonton number 57, first down repeated.
Well, speaking of CFL greats, the GM of the Eskimos, Hugh Campbell, who caught a few passes thrown by his head coach, Ron Lancaster.
What a great pitch and catch team that was.
Tracy Ham has gone over 1,000 completions in his CFL career with his performance tonight. Out in the flat to Gizmo, and he breaks a tackle, and that means he could be trouble, but the Lions stop his progress just over the 30-yard line. Glenn Scribner made the stop on Gizmo.
Giz lined up against Majors out there, just a quick hitch, and the key to this whole play was the running back Pringle getting out there and making the block on Majors to allow Giz to break back inside, but you saw great pursuit from the BC defense out to nullify that to a minimal gain.
They're the top receivers in this game. Williams on the strength of a 75-yard touchdown pass in the first half. It's second down 11 after the 4-yard Williams pickup, and Ham downfield. Double covered was Gizmo Williams, Remy Trudell, and Chris Major in on the stop.
Big play happened that time. That number 37 was Donald Miller, came from the outside linebacker spot. Nobody blocked him, and he got up in Tracy's face fairly quickly, forced him to have to move outside of the pocket a little bit, and he rushed to throw into some double coverage to the Giz.
Chris Major shaken up. But the Lions defense has done its job. They forced the Eskimos into a kicking situation. BC, with a little spark after the drive for the field goal, should get the football in pretty good field position here.
Well, without a doubt, that last series that Kimbrough run as for the BC offense had some positive movement to it, had some progressive first downs, and if the defense realizes that point as far as getting the ball back to him as quickly as possible, then it could be a successful third quarter. He twists his leg back here, as you can see Chris Majors right as he was making the hit on the giz, but he looks to be okay up walking around. Certainly hope to be him back in the lineup.
That's Bill Reichelt, the athletic therapist of the Lions, who is an Edmonton native. And Harper in on third down to punt. Flutie and Starr are back, and it will be Eric Starr from inside his 35, and the Eskimos continue their superb punt coverage tonight. Tony Kimbrough goes back in, rewarded for that drive of 3 points for the Lions, and Danny Barrett is on the sidelines in the second half of this game.
Tony's got to be standing over there shaking his head trying to figure out exactly what happened. But I know he's the kind of player and the kind of person from the character that he is, that he wants the best for this team. If Kimbrough can get the job done out there, then he's going to be very supportive of him.
Kimbrough fake to Volpe. That was an unusual pass, but Marasco has it and has enough for a first down, but there is a flag down on the play. Kimbrough took quite a hit, and he's trying to get up. We may see Danny Barrett a little quicker than we expected. That was not classic passing form by Kimbrough. He kind of shot-footed that ball ahead to Marasco.
That looks like an old quarterback.
Roughing the passer, 89 Edmonton, first down BC.
That pass looked like, I was going to say, one of those old quarterbacks I used to know, Tom Wilkinson. But at the last minute, Leroy Blue comes in. Pretty harmless looking throw down there. I mean, this guy may get an Academy Award for this thing, but I didn't see any justification for a flag there.
But it is 15 yards, and the Lions are back in Eskimo territory as Barrett paces on the sideline. All in the backs out. Kimbrough in the flat, and Clark, who was so reliable a year ago, drops his second pass of the game.
Very uncommon for Clark at this time. Comes out of the backfield a little bit, has a good speed and breaks to the outside. Enos Jackson is way behind him. He's wide open, takes his eye and concentration off of it just for a split second, and that's all it takes to make an incompletion.
Well, our focus has been on the Lion quarterbacks tonight, but that's the 5th catchable ball that's been dropped by the Lion receivers, and you don't expect it from Matt Clark. Well, we've got all kinds of movement. The only guy who didn't move there was Lion center Ian Sinclair, but I think the Lions were the first to move, and that is the call.
Ian's at an advantage at that point. His hands on the ball. He's not going anywhere, and no one seems to be going anywhere.
Number 50, still second down.
Until he snaps the ball on that play.
A lot of penalties so far tonight in the first game of the year for these two teams. Look at the Eskimo totals. That's too many.
This will be one category and one stat that Ron Lancaster will be very, very upset with, and he'll go through this with his Edmonton team.
Now 2nd and 15 for Tony Kimbrough. That's showing blitz, and here they come. Kimbrough sprints out, and he's got some running room. Tony Kimbrough caught from behind, near a first down, but short. Willie Pless was on the move, and Kimbrough shaken up.
Just an absolute outstanding effort by Willie Pless, coming on the blitz up the middle, absolutely leaps over one of the defenders that tried to cut his legs out from under him, misses Kimbrough the first time, and pursues, as we see it right here. Right there, Willie Pless hurdles over him and has enough speed. If he had the containment outside, that was a sack. But you see the determination that he has and the speed that he has. He never gets up, and he keeps after Kimbrough and is able to drive him out before he gets the first down.
That was Dan Murphy, who came from his safety position to apply the finishing touches, and Lamley's back in the game. He made a 45-yarder, and now he'll try one from 48 yards out with Darren Flutie holding. Lamley does not use a tee. Flag goes down. Kick is but will it stand? We've got a flag down, and it may be a tough choice for Bob Ovilovich because this could be a first down if, indeed, it's against the Eskimos.
Willie Pless did come out, and then he ran onto the field right at the last minute. He may have been called for an illegal substitution.
We're back at BC Place Stadium in Vancouver. That score is correct. It remains 23-10. The field goal was good. However, the officiating staff has called an illegal substitution against the Eskimos. The penalty gives the Lions a first down, so the drive continues. And we talked, Dan, about the penalty troubles of the Eskimos. This is opening the door for the Lions here.
It certainly is. Willie Pless was late getting back out there, not realizing that they were kicking a field goal, and he was on the field goal return team. They called him for the illegal substitution. But what a character builder for the field goal kicker of 45 and 48 yards.
Tony Kimbrough rolling left, has Clooney open inside the 15. And OB shakes his head because all of a sudden that's the offense that he was drawing up. 18-yard gain for Flutie.
Got to be quite excited about this as Flutie sets in, sees the zone, sets up, runs away from Willie Pless, the linebacker on the inside, and Kimbrough is able, off balance and off his back foot, of able to throw the ball downfield for a big completion.
First down, Lions threatening with Tony Kimbrough at the helm. Play action into the end zone. Trevathan can't hang on. Kevin Thompson was also there, and it fell between them. It looked like Trevathan just mistimed the jump.
Trevathan did a great job. They took number 76, Thompson, the wideout, ran him deep out there on Lions, and then just broke out Trevathan in the flat, who had beaten Enos Jackson very soundly. The pass wasn't that poorly thrown, and it looked like, as you said, just a mistiming of the jump.
23-10. Eskimos lead with the Lions threatening. They swing it out to Volpe. He's got some room. And Volpe's run out of bounds just inside the 10 short. That was a big defensive play by Stephen Jordan, who fought off the block of Mike Marasco, impeding Volpe's progress.
Like I say, this is just a running screen. They catch him in a blitz up front. Hey, it's a mismatch. Volpe against Benny Goods. Benny Goods is trying to close the gap from the inside. Stephen Jordan sees that, comes off of the guy that he is covering, and is able to come up and knock him out of bounds for a very little gain.
The outstanding rookie in the Canadian Football League in 1988. Missed most of last year with a serious injury, a lacerated liver, in a game against the Ottawa Roughriders. Big defensive play there, and they'll have to try another field goal. Lamley can kick them from close in as well, and he nails this one from 17 yards out, and so we're back to 23-13. But the illegal substitution almost cost the Eskimos a touchdown as the Lions came close.
Without a doubt, just without a break and a little bit of luck right there, Trevathan could and should have had that touchdown pass in the end zone when he beat him. And you can see Opie there talking to him, trying to say, it's okay, don't worry about it, concentrate, we're going to come back to those plays again. It looks like you've got Enos Jackson in your back pocket as far as being able to beat him. We'll set it up later in the game.
Now he's having words with Marasco, who appeared to miss that block on Jordan, which stopped Volpe short. 3:27 to go, third quarter, and Ron Lancaster now starting to give the gum a little workout because things are tightening up at BC Place Stadium. A 10-point game, 23-13.
Those will be some tired jaws by the time the fourth quarter ends for Ron Lancaster.
In this third quarter, time of possession's been the story. Lions 8 minutes 33 seconds with the football. The Eskimos just 3 minutes, and that is a direct reversal of the first half. Gizmo at his 14-yard line. Eric Starr stops him at the 25 as we join Mark on the sidelines.
Well, Chris, word from the sidelines here is that Danny Barrett was taken out of the game to give him a chance to stand on the sidelines and watch this offense. He's used to throwing to the burner receivers, the deep, fast receivers he had in Calgary, and what he has here are possession receivers, and it's going to take him some time to get accustomed to that. So this is certainly not the start that he wanted, the debut he wanted here in BC. But with the way Kimbrough is playing, he may not get a chance to get back in the second half.
Those numbers for Kimbrough awfully impressive for less than 15 minutes of work. And now Tracy Ham's got to get the Eskimo offense going again. Over the middle, Ellis is wide open at the 43-yard line. And the 11-year veteran has a gain of 18 on the play.
Tracy having all day to throw the ball, stands in the pocket, looks and sees Craig Ellis working behind O.J. Brigance in the zone. O.J. did not follow him across the middle, and it's a good completion and a big completion for Craig Ellis and that Edmonton offense to start to build a little more confidence in them that they can actually keep a drive substantially.
Just 2 catches tonight for Ellis. 2 years ago, over 100, but last year his totals were down. Mike Pringle stopped behind the line of scrimmage. You could see Donald Miller at the bottom of the pile, and that's Lee Johnson, a nose tackle let go by the Calgary Stampeders just prior to the start of the season, also in on the play.
That inside to Pringle right there. Again, you see Miller has great anticipation, good speed and strength as he gets upfield. Pringle having a tough time getting it going offensively.
Second down and 10, and Ham rolls left, throwing deep. Sandusky was in behind Ahmad Field. Sandusky doesn't have the speed of Field, but obviously turned the quarterback around, and Ham just overthrew him.
After as many bullets has been fired at Field, that cornerback right now, again, Sandusky does a great job, and he does have him beat by a couple of feet, but again, you see the speed and the ability that Field has on closing on the ball. He shut that gap very quickly.
Well, we talk about possession receivers, but Sandusky in his 7th year shows he still can be a deep threat for the Eskimos. Nevertheless, they're again in a punting situation. Harper to Flutie. And Flutie stopped for a loss by Stephen Jordan. And the Eskimo punt return team has been outstanding tonight. Here's how the scoring's unfolded tonight. It started with that electrifying 75-yard touchdown to Gizmo Williams. But the Lions tied it on the final play of the first quarter. John Volpe with the touchdown. Second quarter, Jim Sandusky a touchdown pass. And we will continue our summary momentarily as Tony Kimbrough back at quarterback. Hands off to Volpe, and there's no running room there. Leroy Blue plugged the hole. Prior to the end of the first half, Tracy Ham on the 1-yard sneak, 20-7 at halftime. Here in the third quarter, a 27-yard field goal by the rookie Sean Fleming for Edmonton. But that was countered with a field goal by Wayne Lamley of 45 yards. And that's where we stand. 10-point Eskimo lead, but the momentum has shifted in this second half. Kimbrough on second down, going deep, and Matt Clark couldn't haul that one in. That would have been a spectacular catch.
Matt Clark, they said earlier talking to OB, he is their deep threat, and they feel that he can get deep. He is wide open, but you saw right at the last minute the safety, Dan Murphy, coming over and had a chance to make the interception. You got to be able to play the ball on that, and he had a chance for a pick, and he may have turned it around and sent it back the other way. Rich Stubler, the defensive coordinator, has been concerned about Murphy at that safety position, and that shows some of the reason why he's justified.
Dan Quayle apparently has been a little concerned about that safety position too, because the other safety for the Eskimos is Brown, and they've been called the Murphy-Brown position in Edmonton. Here's Eddie Thomas, and the Eskimos with their best field position of this second half, at least to start a drive, are at the 53-yard line of BC. 31-yard kick, that's all for Caravana, and it would seem on the night that they've missed Louis Pisaglia's punting more than his place kicking. Now let's Let's see if Tracy Ham can convert this field position. Haven't seen the no-huddle offense tonight for Edmonton, which they used to their advantage in the preseason. Blake Marshall straight up the middle, and Marshall's down inside the 40-yard line, and that's a pickup of 13 for the big fullback out of the University of Western Ontario. That's the end of the third quarter, with the Eskimos protecting a 10-point lead. Well, the way things have gone in the East tonight, I hesitate to suggest this is the final quarter of football this evening. But we go to the fourth quarter with the Eskimos up by 10. The two Eastern games, in case you're just joining us, both went to overtime tonight. Matt Dunnigan beat his old team, or Matt Dunnigan won tonight, but his old team didn't. Dunnigan with a win for Winnipeg over Hamilton. The Argos losing in Ottawa, and Ham going deep to Chris Armstrong, overthrowing his man, and a flag down in the Lions secondary.
Now, without a doubt, what I saw on that, this could very easily go either way on that when you got the defense against interference against BC on this place. They held Armstead up right at the last minute. Armstrong had an opportunity to do an out-and-up pattern, and that was why I think the play was overthrown.
Forward pass interference. BC number 13, unintentional. First down, Edmonton.
That's the unintentional call, which means it's a 15-yard penalty against Chris Major. Bob Obilovich, like any coach, wants to win every game, especially a season opener, but there's added pressure because next week it's Toronto, the Grey Cup champions. The week after, the Grey Cup finalists from Calgary are here. So it's a tough schedule to open for BC. Ham rolling right. And he'll keep it. Stopped at the 17-yard line by Eric Starr, who has replaced Mark Mathis in the Lions secondary.
Tracy's showing good speed that time, getting out of the pocket, but and the point is, when he does come out of the pocket that hard with his shoulders turned to the sideline, it's almost impossible for him to get a throw downfield.
Well, the Lions closed the gap with a pretty good third quarter.
Big change right there. You see the time of possession. The BC Lions kept the ball, and as they keep the ball, obviously, it enabled them to put points on the board.
Ham had a 6-yard gain, 2nd and 4, and they give it to Marshall, stopped up by Donald Miller for a loss, and that's a big defensive play for the Lions. Ron Lancaster said today, 2nd, 4, and 5, just give the ball to Marshall and get out of the way. But that time, the Lions defended well, and there's the great play by Miller.
Good solid handoff up the field, trying to break it to the outside, but BC's defense is pursuing extremely well. Came up, shut it down, made the tackle, and forced Blake to have to cut back inside where the pursuit was able to make the tackle.
Field goal situation, a 32, check that 27-yard attempt for Fleming. And he misses to the right. It goes out of bounds, just a single point. And so the Eskimos now lead 24-13.
For just $18, you can buy this, but why would you, Guido Mozzarella designer shirt. Or you can get an Eskimo game ticket and see the latest in football fashion.
Fight, fight, green and gold, Eskimos, mean and bold. Hit 'em hard, hit 'em clean, ain't no stopping the machine.
It's you!
No.
Maybe not.
For as little as $18, it's Green and Gold Rush 92, July 15th, as the S take on Saskatchewan.
We've had 2 overtime games tonight in the CFL. The BC Lions were the Cardiac Kids a year ago, going to overtime 6 times, including twice against the Eskimos. And Tony Kimbrough wouldn't mind buying some extra time for the Lions tonight. He's in relief of Danny Barrett in the second half. And Kimbrough couldn't find anybody there. Well short of the intent receiver Darren Flutie, as Kimbrough was hit as he threw.
Good job in the Edmonton secondary that time of shutting it down completely. Wanted to hit Flutie on just a quick slant over the middle.
again, Murphy was able to come up, take that away, force Kimbrough to have to tuck the ball down, and that's when the pursuit was able to get to him and force him to throw the ball away.
Second and 10 for the Lions. 35. Here comes the rush. Kimbrough puts it up, and it's through the hands of Enos Jackson. The pass behind the intended receiver, Mike Trevathan. Well, Trevathan has been a popular target for Kimbrough in the second half.
Larry Ruck lines up from the middle linebacker spot outside. He's able to take on one of the blockers from Marasco, and he's able to get through that and still be able to force Kimbrough to throw the ball a little bit behind Trevathan downfield.
Now, that wasn't Jim Mills with a little bit of sweater in his hand, was it?
I don't think that was Jim Mills. I mean, the best offensive lineman in the league would never, you know, be caught holding anybody.
12:25 to go as Nevada sends it away. And here's Gizmo. Look out! Henry Williams. And again, it's only Caravana to beat. And this time, Williams doesn't challenge him. He's got the bad hamstring, and I think we saw evidence of it there. Twice he's broken into the open field, and Julio Caravana has stopped him. Flag down on the field. I believe it's against the Lions. A holding call will be declined. But the Gizmo pulled up there. I think he's a little concerned about that hamstring. It was a 42-yard run back after a 38-yard Caravana punt as we join Mark.
Chris, 6 years ago on this very field, James Bell of the Edmonton Eskimos made a tackle that left him paralyzed from the shoulders down. Today, he stands beside me without even a cane. James, standing here watching this game, your former team, is it painful? Does it remind you of that incident?
No, it's very enjoyable, and it's good for me to be able to be back in a situation like this on a different occasion. And it's just good to be here, and the people of Vancouver have really been supporting me through this ordeal, and it's good to be back here.
James, your recovery is miraculous. Can you give us some idea of what you've been through over the last 6 years?
I've been through a lot. I've had a lot of good backing at home. My wife, Cindy, she's supported me through this all, and without her, it would have been very difficult, and a lot of faith. But through it all, I'm enduring it and still going through a lot of trials, but it's working out pretty good.
James, good luck to you. You're an inspiration to a lot of people. Thank you
very much. I appreciate it.
Chris?
Is he ever? Here's the give to Marshall, straight up the middle, as the Eskimos are knocking on the door. Marshall down to the 16-yard line. And it will be 2nd and 5 as Henry Williams tests out that.
He's over there having a quick conversation with Dr. Boyko just to find out exactly and tell him so that they're on the same wavelength of exactly what's happening out there and what his capabilities are.
This has been plaguing him for some time through the preseason. Ham going deep, and Craig Ellis couldn't bring it in. Just off the fingertips, and the Eskimos are squandering opportunities to put the Lions away.
Plenty of time to throw the ball, and Ellis gets the matchup that he wants against Pedway one-on-one. Hasn't beaten by a step or two. The ball is just over the thumb and goes through his outstretched hand. Could have been a catchable pass. Craig made certainly a valiant effort for it.
That's a tough catch, but I don't think you can call that an overthrown football.
I've seen him make a lot tougher catches than that.
Here's Fleming again, this time from the 23. Harper did a good job to get that down, and Fleming makes no mistake this time. And so the Eskimos add to their lead. And Fleming is 2 for 3. 27-13 now. And so it is 2 converted touchdowns, the difference in this game. But still plenty of time left.
There's a lot of time. Kimbrough has had an opportunity. He's moved that offense around a little bit. He's getting some positive things to happen, but it's a point that defense cannot let the Edmonton offense be able to control the time frame right now and keep the ball that long out there on the field. They got to get in there, get 2 and out, get the ball back into Tony's hands, and let him do something with it. He's checking that, got that checklist, making sure of what he should call in certain situations, the defenses that he's seeing out there, and taking a good look, because he knows he's only going to get 1 or 2 real good cracks at making something big happen.
You sure that's not fan mail that's come down from the way he's played in the second half? Fleming kicks it off. And again, Field will field it for BC, and he is dangerous. Ahmad Field up to the 48-yard line. That's his best return of this game. Well, we've had plenty of excitement tonight, and it began at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa. The Rough Riders beating the Grey Cup champion Argos in overtime, 53-42, and Tom Burgess made some fans in Ottawa tonight.
What a great start for Ron Smeltzer, the new head coach of the Ottawa Rough Riders, in that game.
And Troy Westwood, the hero, as Winnipeg comes from behind to beat Hamilton 36-33. First down, Lions. Kimbrough. There's a pass for Kevin Thompson, and he almost broke it. His first CFL catch in '92. That's Thompson, the former Surrey junior who is replacing Ray Alexander, and it's a 26-yard gain.
Good throwing lanes up there by that big offensive line by the BC Lions, and he went in there with some authority, not worried about the safety taking a shot, caught the ball with great confidence and turned it upfield.
We were struck by the physical similarity, Thompson to the man he's replacing, Ray Alexander. Here's Trevathan turning away inside the 20 and down at the 15 by the inside linebacker, Dwayne Odoms.
Edmonton that time came with a halfback blitz from the weak side. That puts the slot back Trevathan and the safety Murphy one-on-one. Murphy's got to come out of there, but the one thing he has to do is break down, get under control, and make sure that he doesn't allow Trevathan to do exactly what he did, and that's slide back inside of it.
Lions on the move. Flag goes down. Kimbrough back down at the 25, but it looked like the Eskimos left early. Were they drawn offside?
Leroy Blue is pointing at Marasco over there as far as he thought. Marasco waggled up to the line of scrimmage, got up there, and then jumped back. And that's what I thought drove him offside. But again, obviously he was not, and it became offsides against the Edmonton Eskimos.
Ron Lancaster looks at the clock. Lots of time left. 9:04 to go, and it is offside. This is the third possession for the Lions inside the 25-yard line tonight. First down and 5 from the Edmonton 10-yard line. Kimbrough looking, end zone, knocked down. Matt Clark, the intended receiver. Stephen Jordan with the defensive play for the Eskimos. And Kimbrough looks for some help from the sidelines in play selection.
Good selection right there by Kimbrough to buy some time, sprints out to the right-hand side. Willie Press comes from a linebacker in position. He's one-on-one against Marasco, who he sees blocked. He's able to come up and force Kimbrough to throw that ball a little bit before he wants to. Good play by Stephen Jordan.
Here's a critical play. Eskimos showing blitz, but Ruck drops off. Kimbrough was looking for Thompson, who was tied up at the goal line, and it's incomplete.
Great heat from the left side by Benny Goods, as you saw right at the last minute. Larry Ruck came up there, faked that inside blitz, and this is some of the heat that I was talking about coming from that offside. Gets hit by Marasco, but able to keep his feet and keep pursuing Kimbrough there. Good play by the Edmonton defense.
Bob Obilovich going for it on 3rd and 5, down by 14 with 8.5 minutes to go, and you've got to go for it when you're down by 2 touchdowns, don't you?
Big confidence builder for Tony Kimbrough right here to show that he's got faith for him to call this play.
3 receivers to the right. Kimbrough pitches it out. Volpe, touchdown! Play call, Kemp, and what a toss by Kimbrough.
An old option play coming down the line of scrimmage, and absolutely nobody there to take the pitch man, which happened to be Volpe. The late reaction by Willie Plus was there, but a little too late. Volpe, with the great speed that he had, got the ball into the end zone. What a big play for the BC offense and Tony Kimbrough.
The owner likes it. Lamley adds the extra point, and we might be in for another photo finish on quite a night for the CFL on CBC. There's John Volpe. His second touchdown of the game has closed the Lions to within 7.
Here's Dwayne Odoms right here. He's the option guy. As Kimbrough comes out of the line of scrimmage, coming down, he's going to be the man who's going to option off. Take a look. Great play that time by Kimbrough. Reads the option very quickly. If Odoms had done the other job and gone upfield to take the pitch man, Kimbrough's responsibility is to continue with that ball, turn it upfield, and try to get as many as he can on his own.
The left tackle, number 50, Steve Rhoda, Huskers, with another block that sprung Volpe loose. And we're within 7 points here, 27-20. The Eskimos leading with a half of a quarter to go and maybe more. And a flag down on that return. Chris Armstrong brought down by Eric Starr.
Chris, looking back at that kickoff again, I see Gizmo's deep again. Something to me, either as a spectator, as a coach, or something, when he pulls up on
number 96, first down.
That's Rob Davidson with the illegal block.
We can take a look here. Here's Armstrong right here, and there's Big Davison. Got a hold in there, and he actually called it. And the main thing, again, that goes back to Ron Lancaster's theory: do not take the ball out of the returner's hands.
Well, the last couple of possessions for the Eskimos have resulted in 4 points, but they could have put more on the board and put this one away, and now they're in a shootout in the 4th quarter. Here's Blake Marshall. And that's the first time I think we've seen him as a receiver tonight. 50 catches a year ago, and that was part of Ron Lancaster's offensive strategy when he came in to get Marshall the football on those little tosses.
Comes back right before that. Tracy just fakes the hot pass to Craig Ellis to try to draw the defense to the left, and then he throws the running screen to Blake Marshall and gives that ball to him where he can get that momentum and that power going upfield where he can take advantage of some of the smaller tackles in the defensive secondary of the BC Lions.
Well, there's still there's 7:23 left. The Eskimos are under last year's season average, but the injured lineman is Blake Dermott, the veteran offensive tackle. Next Thursday, we've got a beauty for you. Danny Barrett will once again hook up against the Toronto Argonauts. Barrett and the Lions, or will it be Kimbrough against the defending Grey Cup champions and a former BC Lion quarterback, Ricky Foggy? Mark?
Well, Chris, I'm sure you've been accused of being an armchair quarterback at one time or another. Well, I found the real thing right here, the official armchair quarterback, Mr. Healy here, who is the winner of a local restaurant promotion. They allow 4 young winners every game to sit right here in the sidelines. Do you have the best seat in the house?
Most definitely, right here down at Game Field, and I can actually almost put on my runners and jump out there with them.
All right, Sean Healy, you're the armchair quarterback. What's your beef? Has Barrett been what you wanted, or has he been a bust so far?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, but I'll tell you this. I'll almost bank on the Lions coming back in the last minute of the game.
All right, thanks for your time. Chris, I think I'll spend the rest of the game right here. It's a great view and a great seat.
Wow. That's the way to watch a football game, right? But and notice the Lions fans know the script. This is the way it's supposed to happen in BC. They fall behind, catch up, and overtime seems to be part of the equation here.
They've seen this movie before. They know the end of it. We were talking to Castor earlier today. He saw those chairs over there yesterday. He was hoping he would be in a position about this time of the game that he was to be able to go back, sit in those chairs for the next few minutes, and be able to finish the 4th quarter sitting there watching his team be victorious.
Where were you when the nation roared? The Jays first soared. The Rocket beat them cold. Where were you? Where the winners are always crowned. CBC Sports, home of the champions.
Looks like Blake Dermott, the offensive tackle, cramped up. He's on the sidelines. I think he'll be okay. He's beside another injured offensive lineman, Trevor Bowles. Down to 7:23 to go. Fourth quarter, and the Eskimos up 27-20. Doug Hocking and the Lions defense trying to dig in here. Second and short yardage. 2nd and 1. And Ham keeps and has the first down, and Stu Hill takes a shove at Blake Marshall as the old teammates exchange words. Opening game last year saw Calgary beat BC 39-34 in a thriller. Danny Barrett beat the Lions in that one. Tonight he's on the sidelines as Tony Kimbrough has taken over in relief and has got the Lions close, but now the defense has to do his part as Danny Barrett consults with Kimbrough and awaits anxiously the next Lions possession. Crowd really making noise here. Counting on the defense to get the football back. Short toss to Pringle. And Pringle breaks the tackle and has another first down and more at the 50-yard line. Well, they called this the test day for Mike Pringle as Ron Lancaster gives him his first CFL start. He wasn't number 1 on the depth chart in the preseason, though.
Not at the beginning. And this time they move him out there, and he hasn't been playing all that much through the whole course of the whole game. They move him out into the slot and put him one-on-one with Hocking, the middle linebacker. And what the youngster didn't do was to move out there quick enough. He allowed Pringle to have too much gap between he and Hawkins, and it came into a big completion.
Ham trying to work the Lions and work the clock. Has Sandusky, who got the 1 foot down, and a first down into the Lions territory at the 46. And Sandusky continues to be the most reliable Eskimo receiver.
Coming at you right in your living room here, you see Sandusky knows exactly, being the veteran that he is, makes it look very nonchalantly that he makes the reception, keeps the 1 foot in before he puts the other foot out of bounds.
Over 100 yards on the night against his old team, the Lions. Tracy Ham and the Eskimos trying to put the Lions away. Reverses his field. Now lets it fire, and there's Craig Ellis inside the 30.
Just great, terrific athletic ability by Tracy Ham that time. He's working with 2 very young tackles right now for the Edmonton Eskimos. Chris Morris on the right side. The left side has got to be now as Mike Dumarest is there, and as Tracy breaks back in, he looks over the shoulder. I saw his hand downfield. Was Craig Ellis waving like crazy. Tracy was able to plant the foot, turn his shoulders down, and be able to hit a strike for a big first down and keep this drive alive.
Remember, Kimbrough's numbers are in less than a half, but Tracy Ham's over 300 on the night. First down, give inside Michael Souls, and he fights his way to the 24, 23-yard line. And that's a pickup of close to 5 yards, and Ron Lancaster encouraged by what has been one of the most dangerous series for the Eskimos in the second half.
Michael Souls, what a great addition he is with the Edmonton Eskimos. He's a throwback from anywhere. He could play on any team with any position, and he's just got a great attitude about playing football.
Tracy Ham in the flat. There's Armstrong turning away, turning it up, down to the
2. Terrific job by Tracy Ham this time. Use Armstrong going to the out, picking on the rookie Star. Good reception this time. Armstrong is able to turn the ball back upfield, pick up a big first down. Just a late night hit. The ball goes loose as the ball hits the ground. No fumble. Little late hit right at the end of the moment by one of the BC defenders.
That was Reggie Johnson, and Ham was up limping a bit. They spotted at the 1. Ham scored on a sneak from from this position in the second quarter. He's got Marshall behind him, Pringle and Souls. Marshall gets the call, has the touchdown. The CFL's outstanding Canadian in 1991, 20 touchdowns, has his first of 92.
Part of the matchup that we talked about earlier coming right at you. Tracy just reverse pivots out, gives to Blake Marshall. Hawking is in there, and what he has to do as a youngster, he lowered his head down. You've got to go, even if you don't want to, and meet that big power tank in the middle of the hole and be able to get your shoulder pads up underneath him and drive him back if it's possible. But you will never be able to stop Blake Marshall tackling down around the ankles.
Fleming adds the extra point. And so it's now the Eskimos 34 and the Lions 20. Well, when you're down around the goal line,
just countered out, running behind Pierre Vercheval, and there was Hawkins right there. That first time could have met him up in the hole, and you got to square him up. It's a good play, good view from the top here. You can see that Hawkins had an opportunity, but at the last minute dropped his head just a little bit, and you can't do that at least when you've only got to get a yard for the touchdown.
If you thought Ali Dean was a sure bet in the Queen's Plate, Marshall from the 1 yard line is just about as safe a bet. And perhaps as important as the 7 points, the time of possession, 4 minutes, 49 seconds. Bob Obilovich and the Lions were without the football. And they've now only have 3 minutes and 24 seconds to go. Once again down by 2, converted touchdown. Fleming kicks it off. And this again is Ahmad Field to the 38-yard line. And Mike Pringle, the running back, was in on the stop.
Chris, I think the one thing we have to say about Fields is that I've got to be truly excited about his enthusiasm about being out there. Even though he's made some mistakes, he's been beaten, but he really does see, like, he goes chasing that ball. He wants the ball. He actually took one away from Eric Starr earlier in the game and wants to return it, and we kind of almost looks like he wants to redeem himself at this point. He's got a great enthusiasm and a great gift of going to the ball very quickly.
Lions sticking with Kimbrough all the way in the second half. He works out of the shotgun and fires high to Darren Flutie, the intended receiver. And the 3-minute warning being given to the benches with the Lions down by a couple of touchdowns. Back at BC Place Stadium, where the Lions are in a big hole with time starting to run out on them. Tony Kimbrough, second down, 10 yards to go from the BC 37. There's a flag down. Kimbrough fought off the tackle and gets the pass away to Flutie, but this one's coming back. Clearly a holding call. And while the Lions offense is on the field, Tom Mickey, the backup quarterback of the Eskimos, is starting to loosen up.
If I was a betting man, if we're going to bet on Ali D as far as the racehorse, I bet you that he won't see too much time on the field itself. He may be just getting bored a little bit on the sideline. He was holding the clipboard a little earlier. Very good quarterback to be able to come in backup situations when he's playing behind a guy like Tracy Ham. He did a great job over in Winnipeg before he came to Edmonton.
Didn't pick up the number of the guilty party on that holding call, but they do push it back, and it's now 2nd and 20. And Kimbrough really has to pull a play out of his hat now. Eskimos drop way back, and Kimbrough aired it out. That's an interception for the rookie Damian Lyons. And Lyons has a big return in mind, but he's cut down at midfield by the center, Ian Sinclair, but that should pretty well do it here in The Eskimos have the football back.
Here's a situation that I thought Rich Stubler would do, and we talked about it earlier today, was the fact that he took Travis Oliver as his DI and put him at a safety position, and then they moved him over to the corner, moved Damian Lyons at the safety position where he felt he had much more depth and much more speed, and obviously he wasn't happy with Dan Murphy's play earlier in the game, and he made that move to the DI, and it seemed to pay off very big with that interception.
There's Brian Walling, one of the Eskimo running backs, who was out of the game now with a first-degree sprain of his shoulder, and we're told he'll be out 2 to 4 weeks. So they have Chris Johnstone on reserve, and he'll likely be activated in Walling's place. But as the Eskimos control the football now with 2:24 to go, clearly kept the story tomorrow in Vancouver is Flutie's success last night for Calgary, and Danny Barrett struggling tonight. We're big Barrett fans, but clearly he has not grasped this Lion offense as quickly as Flutie's adapted in Calgary.
And it's not so much that I didn't think he had a chance to adapt the offense, because that was part. We'll get it right after this play and see the effort of Blake Marshall, just working and working, trying to pick up the yard. This is the toughest time in the world for a defensive team to play, when you know that a guy like Blake Marshall is going to get the ball. And the wonderful thing for Blake is that he wants it, and he wants to hit people, and he wants to run over people. He hasn't had a lot of contact as far as in a lot of carries through the course of this game, and he wants to make up and make some physical play out there until the end of the fourth quarter. But getting back, you know what, as we were saying, Chris, the point was not Barrett understanding the BC offense, but he just had a tough time playing against the Edmonton defense tonight.
Give again to Marshall, and he pounds it right up the middle for a first down. As we were talking this morning about Marshall, he's going to be tackled, but he's going to hurt the guy that gets in his way.
You better bow your neck and get your weight up underneath you if you're going to make a tackle on this guy, or else he will make you hurt. When you wake up tomorrow, you'll try to figure out what the number of the truck was that ran over you.
Number 22. Minute 22 to go. And Tracy Ham hands it off to Pringle, who almost broke that one, but he is marked down at the 27-yard line. And while we talk about quarterbacks, we started the telecast referring to the added pressure this year on Tracy Ham as the Eskimo quarterback, and he's responded nicely in the opener.
Had some trouble earlier, but what he's done, he stays in there and works and works and works. It's very tough to get Tracy off the field, but in the course of when he does come off the field, either with talking to Bill Dietrich, the offensive coordinator upstairs, or having conversations with Ron Lancaster, it seems to calm him down and give him a little bit better knowledge of what's going on, because there's 6 other eyes out there looking at the whole field for him.
2nd and 5. They took too much time. Ham was trying to work the clock and worked too much that time. 51 seconds to go. And it's automatically a loss of down. They'll go to 3rd down, and Sean Fleming comes on. And that's why Tracy's upset. Not a mistake that will cost you tonight, but it's a mistake you don't want to make nonetheless.
You don't want to have anything to do with time counts violations as a mistake. You know, Ron Lancaster, unfortunately, found out about that in an Ottawa game last year, and at this time it didn't hurt him so badly, but you get a chance for the young kicker to go out there and build up some of his confidence again. Been kicking the ball very well tonight.
34 yards out. And Fleming's through, so both Fleming and Lamley, the rookie kickers in their CFL debuts, have done well, and I'm sure Fleming just acknowledged some family and friends up in the stands. Kicking on home turf in a way. He's had a pretty good debut. Well, this is an injury we don't often see. It's been a tough night for the Lions, and we hope she's okay.
It's been a tough night for a lot of people out there. The Edmonton Eskimos have lost a few people. We're not exactly sure what the story is with Blake Dermott. And then all of a sudden you see a shoulder injury with Brian Walling. The wonderful thing, if there's anything, we'll get it right after this play.
There's Matt Clark with the catch as he dances at the 50. First down for the Lions as the clock ticks down here. Well, Bob Obilovich told us yesterday this is a work in progress. Kimbrough downfield. There's Thompson. Shakes off one tackle at the 37-yard line. The Canadian receiver with his second catch of the game. 37-20. Eskimos.
Even late in the game, this is a great confidence builder for a young receiver to be out there and catch the ball in traffic.
Tony Kimbrough in the flat. Flutie hangs on as he falls out of bounds. And the Lions are out of reach here, but they'd like to work the 2-minute drill to effectiveness and perhaps add some points on the board.
Well, at the same point, defensively, Ron Lancaster wants to see that defense stand up and take that ball away from him. Don't lay down and play dead on this thing and let them score an easy touchdown when you have a chance to put them away. You've got to continue to play this thing for 60 minutes.
Does Barrett or Kimbrough start next week against Toronto? That'll be a question Bob Obilovich has to address. I bet it's Barrett, but there'll be some fans talking about number 11, and here goes Kimbrough again. And he's going to step out of bounds with 7 seconds to go.
The comforting thing, I think, for Obi as a head coach is that you do have a guy that is a very quality quarterback in Danny Barrett. The comforting thing, as I said, is somebody that can come in here as a backup, and it didn't look like he lost anything. He gained things tonight, but if that happens to happen again, it'll be a perfect situation for the BC Lions to know that you have that confidence in your second-string quarterback to get the job done for you.
First down Lions in what should be the final play of this game. They'll try to put it in the end zone. Got a man open. Flutie, touchdown. Well, we're used to seeing the Lions score in the dying seconds. That one doesn't mean too much, but it is a little bit of consolation.
The consolation being that Tony Kimbrough and his offensive team got down there, and these guys kept working for him. They continued to work for him the whole thing. Just a little corner route. Catches number 17, Eddie Thomas, moves him to the inside to the post, and then breaks it back to the corner. And a great throw by Kimbrough on that thing to be able to make the score, even if it's in the dying seconds, to restore the confidence in this BC offensive team that they can get the job done, and they do have the guns to do it.
Well, this should be the final play of the game. The convert attempt, which will be a 2-point attempt for the Lions. Kimbrough can't find anybody. Down he goes. And that seals this one for the Edmonton Eskimos. The final score, 37-26. And Ron Lancaster, who wasn't sure why all of the pundits weren't liking his football team, is reassured with their performance tonight.
Well, it's a terrific situation. As an old cliche said, it wasn't pretty, but it was a win, and that's what you have to have. It's much easier to correct mistakes, both offensively and defensively, from the Edmonton Eskimos' point of view after a win as opposed to after a loss. For the BC Lions side at this time, there is a lot of unanswered questions, and Coach Obilovich has got to be scratching his head. Murray Pesams has got to be scratching his head. Even more so, Danny Barrett is in there, sitting there trying to figure out exactly what may have went wrong with him today.
Eskimos have 5 days to get ready for Saskatchewan. Next up for the BC Lions, the Grey Cup champions in Toronto. But tonight, the final score, 37-26, the Eskimos over the Lions.
Welcome back to BC Place Stadium in Vancouver, where the Edmonton Eskimos have opened their 1992 season on a winning note, defeating the BC Lions 37-26. The most valuable player of the game, Edmonton quarterback Tracy Ham, with more than 300 yards passing and 2 passing touchdowns. Here he is at his scrambling best late in the fourth quarter. Ham looking for a receiver, scrambling, looking downfield, finally spots one of his favorite targets, Craig Ellis, who goes down, and that play led to Blake Marshall's plunging game-changing touchdown that really salted this game away for the Eskimos late in this game. Well, 37-26 the final in this game. The CFL on CBC returns next Thursday night from Toronto when the Argonauts play host to the BC Lions at 7 Eastern Time. Tomorrow night in baseball at the Dome, Oakland visits the Blue Jays at 7:30 start. Saturday, the Calgary Stampede semifinals on Sports Weekend.